Over 20 years ago, Alex Jones created the media platform called InfoWars, and in the decades since, it's grown into a truly remarkable institution with over 200 radio affiliates, tens of millions of unique website visitors monthly, and a 24/7 live news TV channel broadcasting from state-of-the-art studios in Austin, Texas. InfoWars has become the most trusted independent news source in the country, dedicated to delivering breaking news, live coverage of special events, and exclusive reports you won't find anywhere else. While the old guard media struggles to maintain supremacy in a landscape rocked by innovation and technology, InfoWars has been at the forefront of the information revolution. From 8 million radio listeners, over 2 million YouTube subscribers, or the billions of views of our online content, InfoWars proves dominant in every facet of media we enter. For the hardest-hitting reports, uncompromising analysis, for high-profile interviews and bombshell revelations, accept no substitutes. Demand truth. Demand InfoWars. InfoWars. Tomorrow's news today.
42 days until the most historic election in world history. Nationalism versus globalism up for referendum. You know the Democrats are already fighting dirty. And now, Trump derangement syndrome has gone into thermonuclear meltdown. It's Chernobyl and Fukushima and 3 Mile Island all rolled into one. They've got prominent Democrats, prominent groups on Twitter saying murder Mike Pence, murder Trump, murder Ted Cruz, murder ICE, murder police, murder, 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 murder. Burn, death, kill. Headline, Dems pursuing, quote, destruction of America to stop Kavanaugh. Those are the announcements. That's the story up on newswars.com. It is getting absolutely insane as we watch the death throes of these criminals and the minions that their entire ideology is the reflected glory of believing that they have captured and shackled the will of the West and that it is their slave and that they will absorb it, they will eat it, and somehow then become greater men than those they had conquered. But great men do not seek power. They only rise up once things become incredibly dark and there's no more denial that the time for resistance is here. Those of us being persecuted by the globalists are extremely honored because it means we are over the target. It is September 25th, 2018 on this Global Tuesday worldwide transmission. And you are in the war like everybody else, just as important as I am, or Matt Drudge, or President Trump, with your leadership at point-blank range, going against the bullying, going against the peer pressure, going against the social conditioning, and telling the truth and driving through the enemy line for touchdown after touchdown as we begin to demoralize the enemy, not by suppressing them, but by winning. Their will is now being fully broken. The death throes we witness now are the true sign that humanity is about to be coming back up. All right. Does that mean we're offering some type of utopia? No. What it does mean is that the dystopia of the globalists, where they want to demoralize us and dominate us and control us, no. Our will to fight is back, and we are strong. And we are persecuted because we're telling the truth. Go to drudgereport.com. At least 10 minutes ago, the 2 top stories on drudgereport.com are these incredible reports. Video, Ted Cruz and his wife hounded from restaurant by angry leftist mob. That was the first article this morning by Steve Watson. Paul's capable but also reclusive brother. Just as capable as Paul. I wish we could get Steve back on air. Founder of group that harassed Ted Cruz tweeted about dead cops assassinating Mike Pence. He's also known as Snake Man or Pencil Neck. He's a professor that leads the terrorist organization. Leftist group that harassed Ted Cruz vows, "You are not safe. We will find you." And then it gets worse. The leftist group, again, calls for the resistance, the rising up, and killing Mike Pence, everyone else. Top resistance member. admits he gets paid by higher-ups to sow the division. And, of course, what is in the WikiLeaks? What's in their own documents? There's top professors in psychological warfare telling Hillary 3 months out, we're losing the public's attention. They don't believe us. We need to expand culture war. We need to expand cultural division. What is that? Old against young, black against white against black, vice versa, male against female, female against male, north against south. Just mindless idiocy. When we should be unified by liberty and freedom and true justice and a free market that is our path to Valhalla, Nirvana, and heaven all rolled into one. Stay with us. Critical transmission straight ahead. T-minus 42 days countdown to the referendum on nationalism and free market versus globalism. Crony capitalist allied with communist and the psychological warfare system of the technocrats who believe they have humanity caught in a trance. Like Kaa in the Jungle Book believes that we are their dinner. But many of us are breaking the trance. And humanity's soul is rising, thanks to God. And thanks to all your actions, and thanks to all of your prayers. It is September 25th, 2018, on this Tuesday worldwide broadcast. Paul Joseph Watson is joining us coming up with huge news. He's also hosting the 4th hour, and then I've cleared the decks to take phone calls throughout the day. Trump derangement syndrome has gone into its final meltdown. They are frothing and calling for death and violence everywhere. They are bullying. They are intimidating. They are trying to be alphas and make us submit to them. They are fully intending to steal the 2018 election. There will be a massive red wave, but they have built a seawall of election fraud and people voting in the names of dead people and so much more. I'm not saying that you, as a conservative or as a Christian, should look at people who've recently died on the death rolls, and then if you're in cities or states that don't have voter ID laws run by Democrats to go vote, because those systems are already going to be fraudulent anyways, no matter what. You don't want to lower yourself to their area. You want to go knock on 100 doors yourself. You want to call into talk radio yourself. You want to call into C-SPAN yourself. You want to go speak at the city council yourself. You want to get involved and stand up against this mafia operation, and that's how we're going to win. And in the cyber war against the globalists and those that would keep our country suppressed under Chi-Com control, you intensify your operations, spreading articles, spreading videos, spreading links. You're going to get demonized. You're going to get attacked. They're going to hit you with Pavlovian conditioning. They're going to even ban you. It doesn't matter. Again, most folks I know that are so-called in the liberty movement or the patriot movement who are prominent have kind of backed off under the censorship and have self-censored themselves, hoping that they can just keep those platforms because it's all they have. We're going to lose everything if people have those attitudes. But the good news is the general public isn't acting like that. But I've seen a crap ton of cowardice out there. I've not seen it by Gavin McInnes. I've not seen it by Steven Crowder. I've not seen it by people like Anthony Cumia and many, many others. But we have all seen really saddening levels of people not just not standing up for free speech now and keeping their heads down, but also virtue signaling against InfoWars during all this and saying, oh, Jones had it coming to him. That's what the globalists are betting on. And when you do that, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are going to push you, and they're going to make it prominent. See, part of silencing me on these platforms is that then they can go out and trot out the lie on a post. Like Facebook promotes and is in a partnership with the video producers at Snapchat, and they put out every week huge lies about me. About Sandy Hook, about how I'm harassing people, how I went up to a poor Hispanic Native American ladies for no reason and called them Brown Ku Klux Klan, and they edit the video and edit out 10 instances where they call me a monkey 4 times. They say my mother's married to her brother. She calls me, a subhuman white person, that I should go back to Europe and a pilgrim. So I said, my goodness, you're brown KKK. Well, instead, it cuts her going, I'm a veteran, and then me saying brown KKK, and then them playing sad music. That's the criminal fraud of the fake news engines, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Facebook, all of them just opening up on me with just hellish demonization. People say, well, you should have submitted to them. I'm trying to change the world. I'm in a war. Do you think George Washington was trying to win popularity contests in British newspapers? They were saying George Washington was a rapist, and George Washington was a murderer, and George Washington was a thief, and George Washington was a wimp, and George Washington was going to lose. But when he ended up defeating the British Empire that nobody else had defeated, and then when he refused to be king, they tried to make him king. Others wouldn't stand for that. To quote, thank God for the Renegades. Need to play that today. Steve Voss, what a great guy. And when he refused to be king, the King of England had a proclamation and said, today, George Washington is the greatest man alive on earth. And when George Washington died in the UK, they had their flags at half-mast and respected him because they all knew it was all crap. It was all lies. And he persevered through it. And that goes back to the Teddy Roosevelt clip, the Teddy Roosevelt quote. Maybe you guys can put it on screen because I can't get it perfectly right. But it isn't about the skeptic. It isn't about the critic who just sits there with their thumb in their rear end, attacking and lying about greater men that actually get in the arena. It's about those that are in the arena and those that know the hard-won battles and even the battles you lose. You win because you took action and you stood for something. And so thank God we'll never be with the timid people who sit up there in the peanut gallery and point out how the strong have stumbled. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. Credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, oh, do I know them, and the great devotions, oh, do I know them, and who spends himself in a worthy cause. What a worthy cause. Free market America, Christian values, not being captured by globalists and technocrats and radical Islam, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. True words never spoken. That's my credo. I've never been more alive. I've never felt better. I've never been stronger. I've never been more on fire. I am so fulfilled, I can't even handle it. And you know how the enemy gets me, though? When I see Hillary and how devoted to evil and narcissism and mental illness and corruption and Soros and all the minions and everyone fighting for her because she was supposed to be the queen to run us further into the ground, and to see them in this sick cult devoting themselves to a fraud and to our evil husband and all the wars and all the corruption and stealing the Haitian money, the fact that their idol is so obviously fallen and twisted and pathetic and the antithesis of goodness and the antithesis of courage and the opposite of everything good. When I see the howling left driving by always like cowards in their cars going, F you, Jones, go to hell. Where's your family? Because, you know, they try to take my kids away and they still say I don't have my kids. It isn't true. And I think about how low they are. And when the left sees me with my family, my great-looking kids and my great wife, they walk over and they go, F your family right to our face. Because they hate family, and they hate strength, and they hate will. And it doesn't get to me that they're trying to make me feel alone or bad or that I feel like I'm surrounded, because I'm not. For every person that attacks me, 50 people wave at me or shake my hand, literally, even in places like Austin. It's that they're so twisted, they're so fallen, they're so gone, that all I want for them is to have the same thing we've had, an open, free society. The opposite of what Soros is building. That's why he calls it open society. He means you're open for him to rape you financially. He wants Europe's borders totally open. The Dalai Lama says it's an Islamic invasion that should be stopped. Soros challenges Hungary laws at European Rights Court. Think about that. Because he's been trying to overthrow their government. He's had his evil butt thrown out of there. So I take it as a complete honor that one of the most monstrous men alive on earth hates my guts and is set out to destroy me, because that means I'm right over the target like a heat-seeking missile. I'm honing in. He's looking for me. I'm looking for him. And in the information war, when we collide, it will be oblivion for him and Valhalla for me. Yes, the Valkyries smile on InfoWars. Not on that worm. That's an enemy of humanity and progress. And he is already fallen, but soon he will fall into the pit. Top stories on drudgereport.com right now. Leftist group that harassed Ted Cruz vows, "You are not safe. We will find you." The leader of the group, a professor, has tweeted that they need to kill cops and assassinate Mike Pence. Of course, the man known as Snake Neck has been praised and promoted, not gotten in trouble. Now, here's the beginning of the video where they come over and start hounding him. And again, they say, guilty until proven innocent. Guilty until proven innocent. Guilty until proven innocent. That's what they're saying. I believe them. I believe. Like, I believe. Just you cannot question these Democratic Party operatives. If a woman accuses you of something 1,000 years ago, you get sent to the gas chamber. So this is what happened last night in D.C. For radio listeners, go to Infowars.com or DrudgeReport.com, and Paul Watson will give us an analysis in a moment. Here it is.
Hi. I'd love to talk with you about Brett Kavanaugh tonight. I'm a constituent. I'd love to know what your vote is going to be tonight. I know that you're very close friends with Mr. Kavanaugh. And do you believe survivors, sir? Please don't touch me. Do you believe in survivors? We believe survivors. We believe survivors. We believe survivors. Senator, I have a right to know what your position is on Brett Kavanaugh. We believe God bless you, ma'am. Bless you as well. I really appreciate you. I'm a survivor of sexual assault, ma'am. I believe all survivors. There are now 3 people who have come forward and who have said that Brett Kavanaugh has attacked them. I know that you're close friends with him. Did you talk to him about that? Did you talk to him about his position?
And of course, the left, all they can do is chant the same mindless garbage over and over again. Now, they try. That's the first clip put out by these people. The next clip is them hounding them out of the restaurant. Paul Joseph Watson joins us. We'll get the second clip in a moment. But clearly, Paul, Trump derangement syndrome's gone into high gear, A. B, I went up to Oliver Darcy of CNN, who's been publicly getting us deplatformed. He's at a public place. He's a public figure in his job capacity. I just simply said, how dare you get me deplatformed? That's very Nazi-like. I was banned off Twitter for that. So I can't talk to public figures in public. But if you hound people and say, by the way, you're not safe anywhere, that's coming up, Twitter leaves you up. Paul Joseph Watson of Infowars.com. Thanks for joining us.
Well, this is the thing, Alex. This is targeted harassment, clearly. When Trump put out that executive order over the weekend promising executive action against big tech, Business Insider, and they do this every single time, all these mainstream media outlets always say, there's no evidence that Twitter discriminates against conservatives. Okay, so you were permanently banned from Twitter for essentially being rude to a CNN reporter, okay? That happened. They called it targeted harassment. I was suspended for 12 hours on Twitter for posting a video of what was a news event. I wasn't even advocating it. I merely described what happened in the video, you being mean to a CNN reporter, boo-hoo. This group go and harass Ted Cruz and his wife in their private family time, chase them out of the restaurant, post it on Twitter. They then post, quote, you are not safe. We will find you. We will take from you the peace you've taken from so many others, okay?
And let's be clear, that's on the Twitter account where they uploaded the video. Yeah. So this is them now adding, we're stalking you.
In the same thread, they openly dox Gavin McInnes, put out his phone number. I spoke to Cassandra Fairbanks over at Gateway Pundit. Gavin McInnes is getting death threats, has been getting death threats all morning, all afternoon. His family's been getting death threats because this group put his phone number on the same thread that went viral on Twitter of them engaging in targeted harassment against Ted Cruz and his wife, of them engaging in targeted harassment against other politicians by saying, we're going to find you, we're going to get you, and doxing Gavin McInnes, 3 clear violations of Twitter's rules. You were suspended for being rude to a CNN reporter. What is going to happen to this account? Add to this, Alex, the background of their Twitter account is the Antifa flag. Antifa has been designated by the DHS and the FBI as a domestic terror organization. Link in the InfoWars article to the Politico article, which explains that. Okay, on top of this, the founder of this group, a guy called Isaacson, Professor Mike Isaacson, who we've spoken about before, Mr. Pesnek himself, he has tweets that are still active on Twitter where he literally encourages people to assassinate Mike Pence. This is the founder of this group that harassed Ted Cruz and his wife last night. He has tweets saying we should kill white people. He has tweets celebrating the deaths of police officers. This is all still on Twitter. He's not been suspended. None of the tweets have been removed. James Woods got locked out of his Twitter account for posting a satirical meme. This guy encourages the assassination of the vice president. He's the founder of this group that harassed Ted Cruz last night. Still on Twitter, no action whatsoever. So give me a break when they claim, oh, there's no evidence of discrimination against conservatives. Yes, there is, every single frigging day. And this is another example of that.
Let's talk about Snake Man. For years, he's been saying kill cops, kill everybody. He's a professor. I mean, I think people need to go peacefully confront this guy and the school there in New York, because Snake Man really is, in my view, organizing domestic terrorism. I mean, just randomly kill cops.
Well, I've embedded his tweets. He said, my jobs program, kill all white people born before 1962. They made him remove that one. They didn't make him remove this one. Quote, reminder that if Trump does end up winning this stupid thing, bear in mind, this is on election day. Reminder that if Trump, this is a quote, reminder that if Trump does end up winning this stupid thing, to assassinate Mike Pence first. That tweet is still active on Twitter. He was not forced to delete it like James Woods. He was not locked out of his account for that tweet. He's got like weird poetry, Alex, where he fantasizes about Donald Trump hanging by his toes. He literally tweeted on June 16th last year, quote, kill cops first. He tweeted off the pigs 1 day after the murder of 5 police officers in Dallas,
And
Texas.
let me add this. I have to make a major correction. His real name is not Snake Man. I forgot. I think you dubbed him Chicken Neck. I mean, he is the literal human chicken. Continue.
Pesnek.
Yes, Pesnek.
Yes, and he embraced that insult. He loves it. He also tweeted on May 12th, 2017, quote, kill your local politicians before they kill you. That tweet is still active on Twitter. Didn't get forced.
Meanwhile, Twitter claimed that I said use battle rifles on the media, which was not true.
Yeah, and you're banned forever. Oh, but there's no double standard, Alex. There's no discrimination against conservatives. Complete and utter BS time and time again. These tweets are still active. They've been up for almost 12 hours at this point. Gavin McInnes's phone is blowing up with death threats. You know, wakey, wakey, Jack. What time is it in San Francisco right now? No action whatsoever.
Oh, Dorsey, they all love it. They love it. In fact, I know we know the inside baseball. He wanted to get rid of me the whole time. As soon as I got in Rubio's face, he said, oh, now the Republicans will support getting rid of Alex. He wanted to do it the whole time. He was just dangling it out there like he was hanging me over an alligator pit.
Oh, precisely. And then you've got the other story, which is this Krasenstein fellow who's been caught on tape admitting that higher-ups pay him for his tweets. He always tweets at Donald Trump and appears towards the top of Trump's Twitter thread to, quote, sow the division. So CNN constantly bangs on about Trump sowing division in America. Here you've got a top member of the resistance admitting that he's paid by higher-ups to do exactly that. Will CNN report on it? Don't hold your breath.
Both your stories, top of drudgereport.com. Paul Joseph Watson, you're going to go now because you've got big reports coming out. I'm going to come back and play that clip you talked about and play your video where the former lead singer of the Misfits, has now been banned from a major festival for daring to tweet stuff about you and I. But, of course, there's no censorship going on at all. We'll be right back. Infowars.com. Tomorrow's news today. You know, I love Glenn Danzig's voice, but Raquel Graves is a great talent of his own. Been listening to this since high school. I want to hear you scream. My wife loves this song. Seriously. It's fun to drive through the hill country. When a big full moon's rising up behind the hills. And, of course, the kids aren't in the car with you, and you press down that accelerator. Well, guess what? He, of course, after Glenn Danzig left the Misfits, was the lead singer for a long time, with hundreds of great songs. And he was one of the headliners at a major festival in England. But the left canceled him. Because, well, he tweeted Alex Jones and Paul Joseph Watson, and this just illustrates how they're waging war on people's free speech. It is the Chinese social score system where you can't travel, you can't have bank accounts, anything. And then they also always build straw men that we're Nazis. You know, when they doxed Gavin McInnes and gave out his cell phone number, so he's getting all these death threats. He's joining us next segment. When they doxed him, the very same group that just confronted and threatened Ted Cruz and his wife and said, we're going to get you, we know where you are. When they did that, they also said, oh, and tell Gavin McInnes you love white genocide. Because that's a trigger word for the left, because they're pushing white genocide. All these professors are saying, when you get rid of the white race, it's inherently evil. That's what Tucker Carlson pointed out last night was, they're saying if a woman says that you sexually assaulted her, you are guilty. You're not innocent until proven guilty under Western jurisprudence. You are guilty. And that piece is coming up in a moment as well. But it's just amazing. If you're white, you're guilty. If you're a man, you're guilty. This is authoritarianism. And you've got that different Democrat congresswoman saying, if you're a man, sit down and shut up. You're inherently bad. How freakazoid is all this? But, oh, if you're women that Bill Clinton settled lawsuits with for rape, or you're Hillary Clinton that was famous for representing child molesters, what she chose to do out of college, and bragged that she knew they were guilty of raping little girls until their cervixes were smashed out, that's okay. Or if you want to fund radical jihad taking over, that's okay as well. But we're going to get Mr. Graves on the broadcast, but here's Paul Joseph Watson's piece on it.
Yet another example of communist China's social credit score arriving in the West. Mikhail Graves, former vocalist of the iconic punk band The Misfits, had his sold-out shows at next month's Up and Downtown Music Festival in Edmonton cancelled. Why? Did he commit a grave crime? Is he the latest victim of the Me Too movement? Did he fall terribly ill? No, he retweeted Paul Joseph Watson. That's right, Graves' shows were cancelled because he retweeted yours truly, InfoWars, Breitbart, and defended... Oh, wait for it. He defended free speech. The festival's artistic director, the guy who cancelled him, Brent Oliver, said this: it's the support of Alex Jones. If you go in through his tweets and replies, he's tweeting at Hillary Clinton, calling her a criminal. He's retweeting some British right-wing dude that I don't even want to know his name. And that's me. It's all, again, it's so close to the sun of guys like Richard Spencer, president of the white nationalist think tank National Policy Institute, that I just don't feel comfortable with it. I should also be clear, Oliver says, this is not about politics. Oh, yeah, right. I understand conservative politics, but this is not conservative politics. To me, this is alt-right hate, and that was the feeling of the board and contrary to our policy, so we removed him. But wait, neither I or Alex Jones are alt-right. I make videos attacking the alt-right. So yes, it is about politics, and yes, you cancelled his gigs because he's a conservative and you're an intolerant moron. This is what Mikhail Graves, the singer, said. I'm in the game of raising people up and giving them a victorious attitude and telling them it's okay to be you and to be strong and to believe in themselves and the people around them. I want to lift people up. I'm not looking to tear people down. Sounds pretty hateful to me. So once again, we see conservatives being socially and financially punished because of their political beliefs. Because, God forbid, should any celebrity stray out of line and be allowed to hold diverse opinions. No, they must be punished. You know, a similar thing happened to the American tennis player Tennis Sandgren, who was also subjected to a media inquisition merely for following some right-wingers on Twitter. Thou shalt not attempt to deviate from our monoculture. Thou shalt not be allowed to express independent thought. Because we're so tolerant, so progressive. Listen, I've lost count of the amount of people who tell me, either in person or online, both celebrities and non-celebrities, in journalism, in Hollywood, in sports, in business, how they're all terrified of letting slip their conservative political beliefs because they know they'd be hounded out of their careers. This is the de facto communist Chinese social credit score being implemented in the West. Conservatives, libertarians being socially ostracized, financially sabotaged, and having their careers jeopardized simply for daring to think for themselves. Being refused financial services, being refused bank accounts for engaging in hate. What constitutes hate? Anything that challenges far-left progressive dogma. This is where we're at. This is the culmination of contrived moral panic and frenzied political hysteria. If you want to support the Misfits vocalist Mikhail Graves, he's playing at an alternate venue in Edmonton, one that actually supports diversity of thought, God forbid. Details are in the description. Oh, and if you didn't know, this is my second channel that you watch.
All right, so there you go. That's part of Paul Watson's report. So the former lead singer of the Misfits, banned from a major music festival for retweeting Alex Jones and Paul Watson because we're all Nazis. Even though anybody that knows Nazis don't like us because they want to own the right wing. No, liberty owns the right wing. So get that through your stinking heads. I hate black racists, white racists, all you idiots. But it doesn't mean I'll kiss your butt if you're a brown racist trying to get in my face. I'll tell you I think you're a piece of crap. And it's brown racists that a bunch of white controllers and university professors are pushing. Now, I didn't make a deal out of this because I don't want to change my phone number, but my wife has now demanded it because she sits there in real time while it's ringing with women going, oh, baby, you got me pregnant. Oh, baby, let's meet again tonight. Oh, or the death threats. I got doxxed 3 days ago. I've had hundreds of threatening phone calls, hundreds of calls that they're going to come after me. Fake women calling up saying, oh, you had sex with me in D.C., baby. Meet me here. I mean, they're trying to create some nexus point, I think, to make fake claims or something. So I got doxxed, I guess, 3-4 days ago. It's mainstream news reporters have done it. They gave out my number. I had to get rid of my last number a year ago. So it's a nightmare to load everybody's numbers back in there and then let everybody know your new number. But, yes, I got doxxed, too. So I'm just going to go ahead and announce it because I've got to get a new phone. In fact, I have to go down there, I guess, today and get a new number. It's just a total hassle. But that's the Trump derangement syndrome and the crazy town that they've gone into. And that shows they're being directed. That Gavin and I both got doxxed at the same time, basically. That the same group that's saying, run by this New York professor saying kill everybody. And he's saying kill the president, kill Pence. He's not getting in trouble. And then you have top resistance member admits he gets paid by higher-ups to sow the division. We have Gavin McInnes right now. We're going to go to break and come back and talk to him. Now, people are like, well, you better back down. You're getting persecuted. No, we're over the target. We're winning. My God, our forebears had to fight and die to create this country. I feel kind of like a wimp that I just have to be demonized and doxxed and denied banking services and unpersoned on the internet. But remember, that's the precursor to real tyranny. And so while you still can use PayPal for another 8 business days at InfoWarsStore.com and InfoWarsLife.com, go there and get X2. The special must end today. The 25% off because we're going to end up selling out of the last run of it. I can't believe. BioTrue Selenium, 40% off. Brainforce, 40% off. Now 20% more. Sign up for auto ship and you get additional 10% off. Every order gets 5% Patriot points put in your account. You can cancel auto ship anytime. Whatever you do, commit to be part of the Second American Revolution. And you better believe financing InfoWars is war bonds. It's the most important thing you can do other than praying for us and sharing the articles and videos. InfoWarsStore.com. Thank you for your support, but we need it now more than ever. Trump derangement syndrome has gone into meltdown 42 days out from the historic election. When I went to the Free Alex Jones rally that they had this weekend, when I got out of the car, leftists were driving by going, F you. They actually came, but they wouldn't get out of their cars. They would just drive around and say, F you, we're going to get you. They're throwing coffee on everybody. They're attacking people. But it's the same in Europe. If you're a nationalist, it's white people attacking you, saying you're a racist. Leftist group that harassed Ted Cruz vows, you're not safe, we will find you. The founder, known as Chicken Neck, of the group is a professor that harassed Ted Cruz, tweeted about dead cops assassinating Mike Pence. And then coming up, top resistance leader that Twitter top pins under every Trump tweet admits he gets paid to show the division. Gavin McInnes just got doxxed. I got doxxed 3.5 days ago. And I'm getting calls like, you're a piece of filth, you're a racist, hope you die. They also have fake women calling up, saying, "Oh, it was great having sex with you in D.C. Let's hook up again." So I think they're trying to set up that nexus point, hoping I'll talk to these women and they can say I raped them or something. So that's what they're doing with the doxing. Gavin, what would you call of CRTV? Get off my lawn. You've been banned off Twitter. You're being deplatformed just like I am. We're in quite a club. Why do you think they're getting so brazen and then arrogantly saying at Google no one's being censored on the web who's conservative? It's like saying Hitler wasn't a Nazi or that, the sky isn't blue. And then why do you think they're accelerating? And it seems to be this particular group that's coordinating this particular Antifa group.
Well, I think we're living in a monarchy in a sense. And Google and all these social media companies are the kings and the queens. And us peasants are starting to rise up. So the king has decreed that we must be banished and taken down. I don't know, invent a salt tax, invent a grass tax, invent a social media tax. We need to get rid of these peons. They're becoming troublesome. And you look at things like when Google was caught in that meeting saying, we hate Trump and we're gonna change the way Americans think. That's the kings. You're looking at the monarchy there having a meeting in the royal palace. They face no retribution for that because they're in control. And I think right now we're slowly realizing that these kings and queens hold way more power than we thought they did. And I just cannot get over the irony of you being attacked when the name of your company is InfoWars. You've been saying there's a war on information for years, and here you are being shut down. I mean, is anyone else seeing the madness of this?
And I even read in some of the Twitter and Facebook meetings that have come out, and even the New York Times goes, we're in an information war. We've got to stop these pro-Trump people. And Hillary says, you've got to shut down all the fake news or we're going to lose the midterms. And then they play dumb. They define us as fake news, as hate. They wave a magic wand, and then have the nerve to say they're not censoring us. It's unbelievable.
Well, you wouldn't believe some of these prank calls I got. I had no idea how radical they are. I don't get any of the sexy ladies stuff. But I get a lot of like old-timey Russian speeches. And then I get old-timey messages going, communism will win. Capitalism will fail. Give up. Like real propaganda type stuff that sounds like it's on a bullhorn. And then this is very telling. I got these messages where the guy goes, look at you, you inbred piece of white trash. White people are filth. This is a white person saying it, by the way. You guys are a bunch of cave people. The Egyptians had advanced ways to deal with their dead while you guys live with your dead in caves. He's saying you guys, but he's clearly white. It's crazy. And the kind of hatred and eugenics and pro-genocide these people are talking.
It's literally what you'd hear from the KKK, but flipped. But and I don't want to say because we're on radio and TV, but what you said off air, repeat the family version of, aha, you white guys have little ding-dongs. Us black guys got huge ones, and it's white guys saying it.
Yeah, he said, it's not our fault that your women love us. It's not our fault that they want a phallus that exceeds 3 inches. I'm using fancier talk than him. And it's clearly a white guy. And what I say to that is, A, I don't talk about white nationalism or white anything. I'm an ideas guy. I care about the West, and I love black conservatives who want to shut down the government. But B, isn't it bizarre that a white person is talking these black power tropes? Like, imagine a black person talking about white supremacy. You'd put him in a mental institution.
Exactly. Well, you know why? I talked to some insiders in D.C. Van Jones is still covertly in charge of that diversity office that Obama set up. And it's actually the weirdest, craziest, twisted communist black power crap from the 60s and 70s. That's what's being taught to all the young white professors. So that's why they're like saying all that.
Yeah, that white cave person thing, you hear that in a lot of rap songs. Ice Cube does it. It's a big sort of...
Remember the lady at the New York Times, the Asian lady? She said, you white people are subhuman goblins living in caves.
And I will give them that. It is true that Egypt was more advanced with body disposal 250,000 years ago. Touché.
But I mean, I'm not even thinking in terms of what's better, Africa or Europe. I just want freedom. And you're hearing the most racist crap.
Cares? Who cares what the cave people did to their dead? I don't care if they had sex with them. But you know what I started doing, Alex? I started answering the phone and talking to these people. And of course...
Oh, you want to do a show where you keep that phone number and every day they can call in and you just talk to them. Oh, my gosh, I'm going to keep my number and put it out public, and we'll have a show that's not on radio because it'll be filled with profanity, and I'll just let them call up and death threaten me. Oh.
I did, and the first thing they do is they're starstruck, and they can't believe it's real. It's like they're talking to to Elton John or something, and they start stuttering, and then they would just yell F you and hang up. But the few that would talk for a second, I'd say, what is your issue here? And they'd say, white genocide is awesome. I love white genocide. And I go, all right, why would I care? I don't talk outside of South Africa. I don't really talk about white genocide. It's not on my top 5 talking points. And then they would want to be friends after. And I realized, and I sent one of your producers the quintessential example of these prank callers, Christian Chiakulis, I think his name is. And they're just very pro-communist, loser, pothead millennials who want free stuff because work is hard and they need $1,000 to fix their car so they can get back on Uber.
But you're right. When I've been around the BuzzFeed writers and people, they're almost half apologetic and admit they're mercenaries. And then they think we're really cool because we're free. They get talking points, but then they still have to go back and engage in all this. And I noticed a few times, as Mike Cernovich said, if you just pat them on the head and act like you like them, they'll actually write halfway nice articles. But here's the deal. I'm not going to be fake and pat them on the head to get them to be nice to me. And I'm not saying Cernovich is bad for doing that, but they are literally arrested development. And what is up with the weird soy boy face? Because I can't even make it. It's like this... I mean, what is that thing they all do? It's like a sign of their weirdness.
You know, I was talking to Mercedes Carrera. She's an adult film star who's remarkably astute when it comes to these sort of social patterns. And her contention is, and it sounds very Alex Jonesy, that with birth control, there's extra estrogen in the water and everything. But it's also, it changes the way we behave. Women who are on birth control behave like they're in the first trimester of pregnancy. And those women, they don't want an alpha male who's going to have sex with them. They want a sibling or someone who's going to be warm and safe around them and not a threat. And so I think these men start mimicking what these birth-controlled girls want, and they want basically like a sibling. So they become these sexless sort of, hey guys, let's go to Six Flags.
Hey, everything's great. I'm a drone. I'm a drone.
I'm your best pal. Let's be friends.
Gee, Genzer, want to go for a stroll? Want to go have coffee? Hi. Imagine what women would run like, hi, want to go out? Hey, baby,
well, I remember
how you doing?
Being an anarchist in there.
Sorry, go ahead.
Being a punk anarchist kid in the 80s, I remember we'd go to these workshops and there was some feminist with dreads named Penny would be at the anarchist bookstore talking about women's rights. And I remember at the young age of 18, when she was done, she'd walk out and some dude on a motorbike would show up with a leather vest who didn't give a crap about what she was talking about all day, and she'd just hop on the back of his bike and off into the sunset. And I realized these women, they may say they want allies, but they don't carnally want
They only want power over young women to control them in the power of femininity. And exactly, I mean, I know a lot of guys in politics, as you do, and they tell me the stories about these Democrat consultant women who literally beg conservatives to treat them like pigs, slap them around. They love it. They have a fetish for it. It's sick.
It is depraved. And you can't wear a MAGA hat in New York. You can't go to a bar. You also have to run from women because it's like being the Beatles. Women are obsessed with guys in MAGA hats. It has to be late at night. No one can see them. But I talk to other Proud Boys who wear MAGA hats, and they go, it's insane. The women maul me. And I think it's because they don't like the mess they created. They castrated an entire generation, and then they go, where's your balls? And these kids go, well, you took them. They're right there in your purse. Can I have them back? No. All right. You created a mess.
When we come back, I want to play a few of these clips because we can joke about this all day. Trump derangement syndrome just keeps going up and up. And I asked you like 2 years ago, when is peak insanity? And I want to ask, what's going to happen if they lose the midterms, which unless there's successful election fraud, I think they're going to lose. People are predicting this blue wave and all this. I don't agree with that. I mean, that's not what I'm seeing. The Trump effect is a lot of folks won't tell you in polls they're going to vote Trump. Gab McInnes of CRTV, get off my lawn. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com, the most banned broadcast in the world. For good reason. We love freedom, and we are the antidote to tyranny. CRTV.com is the amazing operation they got. Everybody from the great one, Mike Levin, to Eric Bolling, to Gab McInnes, to Stephen Crowder, to you name it. Glad they're out there. Glad we're out here. You know, glad DrudgeReport.com's out there. Thank God for him. Get Off My Lawn is his show on there. In this shorter segment, I want to get into Tommy Robinson. You're going to visit him. He could be in jail as early as tomorrow. Again, we'll talk about that next segment, what a patriot is and what he's facing. But you were talking about during the break the threat of me being taken off PayPal, Jihad Watch being banned by Visa. I mean, this is Mark of the Beast level, total control level stuff. I mean, this is the authoritarianism of this. And you made another good point on top of that about airlines. So speak to that.
Well, my understanding is that Delta refuses to transport ICE guys that have a detainee, that are taking back an illegal immigrant. So that's an example of a group not allowed on an airline. If I was to go to a comedy club, I guarantee you in New York, I would be tapped on the shoulder and asked to leave. Ted Cruz and all these other conservatives can't eat at restaurants. We can't use Visa. We can't go on these platforms. So it used to sound crazy to say soon utilities will be denied, but I guarantee you hotels are next. And soon after that, it's going to be providers, cell phone providers, the social justice warriors have gone mainstream, and they are fascists. They are socio-fascists, and they have their paramilitary wing, the Antifa, and they are out there to enforce tyranny. We're really living in a dictatorship.
And let's be clear, you're right. They're the new royalty. Big tech, with big media, with the Hollywood, with now the airlines and transportation, saying we're going to deny service to the government. We're going to have a resistance that doesn't even follow the law and tries to block the president. This is really their own form of corporate martial law to block Trump. I mean, we have the rogue government and the rogue corporations. 76% of the kids don't even have parents with them. So we get their ID, try to fly them back to where they're from, and the airlines won't even do it.
And you know, the crazy part about all this is we have the king. We have the King Trump is in the castle with his armor on him. We go, King Trump, can you do something about this? And he goes, I'm killing as many as I can. He's got his sword out going, I'll get to you. This is insanity. And we go, we're over here too. It's nuts, King. I mean, he's draining the swamp.
I agree. You've only killed 10,000 of the enemy. Hard. Get up off your ass and do more, Trump.
Yeah. I thought after the election that the insanity would stop, but it's just been ramped up 100%.
That was my question. How crazy does it go? Because I asked you 2 years ago, what is peak SJW insanity? And it's only getting more insane.
I'm going to put plywood on my windows after the midterms, and I'm going to be on a boat with my family because hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And these beta males and these lunatics, the ones we saw dancing in front of Mike Pence's house, like he cares who dances, these lunatics are going to pop a gasket. You thought the first election was bad. There's going to be literally riots, fire on the streets. It's going to look like Ferguson all over again with Antifa stabbing fire hoses. You don't want to be downtown when Trump gets reelected,
Wow. Gavin, what is your gut level prediction? I mean, I think if there's a fair election, we're going to have a red wave. What do you think?
I think that after the meltdown, they've got to calm down, right? You know, like when you take video games away from your kids, they have that hysterical sort of 10 minutes where they can't believe what's happened. And then eventually you'll see them, they sort of dry their eyes and they're drawing a picture or reading a magazine. Like, surely the temper tantrum has to have an expiration date on it. How long can you deny reality for? I mean, they're at the point now where they want to impeach Pence because they're so sure that Trump is done for. It's like a crazy ex-girlfriend who boils your bunnies.
Exactly. And it'd be okay if Hillary was like Wonder Woman and was a good person and free market and everybody loved her and then she lost, we're bummed out. Hillary's this monster demon. She loses and they act like it's the end of the world. Well, Gavin McInnes, one of the top stars over at CRTV.com, is with us. I'm Alex Jones with the most banned broadcast in the world, Infowars.com and Newswars.com. And he's about to fly to London, England to talk to Tommy Robinson, who is set to have another hearing. He was already released for 2.5 months for contempt of court covering a mass Islamic pedophile ring hearing that he had first exposed 10 years ago. So he's just there saying it's happening. And no judge, no jury looked at any evidence. The judge just said you go right to prison. He lost 30-something pounds. And Gavin McInnes has got some great points on this. But he thinks he's going to be sent back to prison. I'll be talking to Tommy this afternoon. And so a lot more on that front. So tell us what's coming up with that. Because, hey, you're getting doxxed. You're getting banned on Twitter. You're getting attacked. I'm getting attacked. But at least we're not getting sent to prison like you do in the UK if you talk about how part of radical Islam is the keeping of young girls as sex slaves. That's done all over the world in Islamic countries.
It is very possible that on Thursday, Tommy Robinson is sentenced to death for blaspheming Islam. That is who is in control in that country. Oh, look, I got a call. Shall I answer it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this could be one of the... Hello? Hey, man, what's going on?
Nothing. I sent you a screenshot of who it was that posted your number. I'm actually a fan. I just called to let you know what's on your...
Oh, okay. I'm on InfoWars. I thought it would be an enemy. You know, the enemies are a lot more interesting than the fans. I don't like... The fans want selfies and they want to say you rock. And since this went mainstream, I'm getting a lot of compliments. That's not as interesting as these commies saying capitalism is doomed. But anyway, sorry, to go back to Tommy.
No, but now that your phone's public, I mean, right now, everybody call in who wants to death threat us. You know, there's the phone, or you want to tell us how our wee-wees are small and how you're anti-racist because you said it. So any weird white soy boys that have half-inch wee-wees that are mad that we have 7-inch ones, you can call in right now because that's literally what they call you about, right? They're obsessed with their tiny soy peepees.
Black people and sex and penises and stuff. It's depraved. It's always a mirror with the left. Every time they get really vitriolic, you get to see inside their mind and you realize you are the racist, sexist, homophobe, blah, blah. Like,
well, did you hear another professor got fired out in California for saying that women do not have genitalia, men's genitalia?
I saw, what's a gynecologist supposed to do when he's presented with male genitalia? And this woman says, all right, what should I do here? And he's got to say, well, you have some serious issues because that looks a lot like a penis.
You didn't? Did you hear in the UK they have men coming with beards? In fact, one article, quite large male genitals, and they order the nurses. This isn't sexual assault though. Made up 36 years ago. Kavanaugh falls on a bed. That's rape. But when they go into the National Health Service and they get up in stirrups, they've ordered the female nurses and male nurses to do pap smears on men's genitals. Of course, it's impossible. Men don't have a cervix, but this is the new mental illness. You know, in 1984, O'Brien just wants him to say 2 + 2 = whatever I want. But in this world, we have to literally have a man get up in stirrups and say, do my pap smear.
Your ovaries are doing really badly. I can't find them. They look like vas deferens. But anyway, let me get back to Tommy.
Tommy Robinson.
So contempt of court is usually a slap on the wrist. It's basically jaywalking in Britain. He was thrown away for 13 months in solitary confinement. But if he gets sent, and now he's being resentenced. I have no idea why you get to retry someone, but they're doing that. If he is sent to prison on Thursday, he will be killed beyond a shadow of a doubt. So that would be the death sentence for contempt of court, whereas the previous worst thing they had for contempt of court in Britain was something like a 400-pound fine that the guy refused to pay, and they said forget about it. So you're essentially seeing a man get sentenced to death for a crime as bad as jaywalking. And the truth of it is, it comes down to blaspheming Islam. Now, you can say whatever you want about Christianity. You can have Jesus decapitated and dance around in Trafalgar Square. No one cares. But you say something bad about Islam in Britain, or you make a pedophile uncomfortable, boom, death penalty.
And if people watch the video they're watching on TV when he got arrested for just covering the trial outside, which everybody else was doing, the police look like they're so satisfied. They're just relishing it. And the judge came to the window and laughed and giggled and pointed. I mean, these people are the scum of the earth. When the left gets the police power, look out, you get Mao Zedong.
Isn't that the monarchy in a nutshell? The king, or some magistrate looking down from the top tower of the castle, looking down at the plebes getting arrested for defying the king and smiling. How did we go back in time? Do we got to break out the pitchforks again?
This is serious because, you know, the problem with conservatives and libertarians like us is we're tough. We like a fight. So every level of tyranny, we just get used to it and fight it. But it is getting really high level. I mean, it's getting to the point where they basically declared martial law in the deep state against Trump. And so what does he do to block them when they're totally mutinous?
Well, you know, you and I can take it. We're tough. They're going after families now. They're going after kids. This drag queens reading to kids isn't just a colorful person reading a book. The agenda there is, I can't take on Alex and Gavin. They fight back too much. Let me go for a 4-year-old, and I'll spread my propaganda on a child, my Marxist crap on them, and they're not a worthy adversary. That's much simpler for them. They really have no morals. I mean,
and by the way, these aren't good-looking drag queens. Why do all the ones they push on kids weigh 400 pounds and dressed it up in monster Halloween costumes? When I was a kid, I was scared of clowns. These are the most satanic-looking clowns I've ever seen.
They are clowns. I never knew how to. I mean, I live in New York City. There's drag queens everywhere. And you'd be at a party and there's a drag queen there. And I've even heard gay people say, I don't know how to talk to them. Like, are you still your character? Can we talk about the weather? Or does everything have to be in character. It's like being at a Halloween party and Frankenstein is always going, like, when do we talk about anything but,
Well, I mean, these people look like hideous clowns. I don't dislike somebody, a man that wants to dress like a woman, or if somebody is an adult wants to take chemicals to change whatever. But they always say, oh, you're anti-LGBT because you don't want 3-year-olds having obese people in clown outfits. I mean, that would scare the hell out of me when I was 3 years old, Gavin. It scares me now. I mean, look at that. Holy hell. That looks like one of the creatures from Power Rangers, one of the demons that goes, Power Rangers, I will destroy you. Yeah, Power Rangers. Sorry, go ahead.
This talk about gay and straight is talk about sexuality. I don't want you talking to my 3-year-old about sexuality. Pro, against, gay, straight, any of that stuff. Why are they talking about sex? The gay march isn't, I'm proud of my heritage, my culture. I'm proud of the fact that gays are good at design and fashion and organizing furniture in your house. The Gay Pride Parade is about sex. I'm proud of the sex I have. And this drag queen thing is inexorably linked to sexuality.
And you don't take your 3-year-old to a gay pride parade.
I don't take my children, my toddlers, to anything sexual. Not even a rom-com. It's none of their business. It's not their world.
Well, listen, they had these big tranny events of last year and this year in Austin, the drag queen festivals, and it's 3-year-olds walking up and putting money in fat men's G-strings, shaking their asses in kids' face. If I went to a strip bar and I saw an adult there with a 3-year-old putting money in a woman's G-string, I'd be just as offended. This is sexualization of children. These people are amazingly twisted.
Look at the set of standards we have to live up to and the set of standards they don't have to live up to. Kavanaugh may have had a rude sexual encounter in high school 34 years ago. Let's pillory him and charge him with rape for the rest of his life. He's the rapist. Then you have their world where they got rapists all over the place. You got Mika Rhodes, Luke Kuhn in Antifa, multiple sexual assaults. This guy, the progressive punk, he's a serial rapist. And they just go, well, you know, sexuality is fluid. Who knows what's going on with that story? They let themselves literally get away with murder, and we can't fart without capitulating, without these apologies that sound like they're from BDSM, where they say, what I did was inexcusable and unforgivable. It's clown.
Well, yeah, it's like the left pushes 50 Shades of Grey that could get people into really dangerous lifestyles. And so they're into all this weird mutilation, you name it. But then, oh, my God, Kavanaugh rolled around on a bed. Even if it's true, it's the end of the world. It's insanity is what it is.
Well, the big picture here is obviously they're not playing fair. They're moving the goalposts, so let's stop playing. They don't want to discuss things. The right is so naive when they go, well, if we could just get the truth to them, we could convince them. I've been dealing with these guys on the phone for the past 24 hours talking to them. All they want to do is scream epithets and try to hurt your feelings. There's no interest.
I'll tell you why. Because it's like 1D. You're just this object for them to LARP on. It's not real world. Gavin McInnes, CRTV.com. Another one of the evil deplorables is being censored. All right, Gavin McInnes of CRTV.com's got to go. He's got to jump on an airplane and go interview Tommy Robinson before he could be back in prison tomorrow. Yes, he got out because the judge didn't even hear evidence. Within 1 hour, he was sent directly to prison, 2.5 months. And so we're here having fun, talking about being doxxed, being demonized, being attacked, because we're cheery about it. But this is really very, very serious. And you were saying some really great things about Tommy during the break. So we got distracted, on the people calling your doxed phone. Let's spend some time, a few minutes here on Tommy.
Well, the thing about Tommy is when you see him and you hear about him, you go, oh, it must be like Braveheart to meet him. He must be this sullen warrior like Bill the Butcher who just sits there and goes, your name's Amsterdam, I'm New York. But he's not like that at all. He's a giggly little elf who's constantly laughing and playing pranks and stealing your beer and giggling. The guy is constantly giggling. Now, someone messes with him, and he just knocks them out instantly with a perfect left hook. But the person himself is just such an enjoyable, fun guy whose kids adore him. He's always making them laugh. And the fact that they are going to murder him because he's not politically correct just shows how sinister the state can be. And that's a canary in a coal mine, by the way. We're not far from that.
And the Islamists say they're going to kill him in prison, and they did starve him. He did lose 35 pounds. When I saw him come out of jail And he went on Tucker Carlson. He was trying to get on my show, but they'd taken his phone, so he didn't have my number anymore, or he would have already been on, and he's since been on. He looked like he was had that prisoner of war look to him in only 2.5 months. So I'm really worried about this.
You know, if he's not, I haven't talked to him much since he got out, but if he's lost his humor and they broke him and he's sad now or just mean, that will make me real mad. I'm going to blow a gasket. And I'm glad you brought up the whole thing about, oh, we've been banned and they did this to our social media. Meanwhile, we had 620,000 men die in the Civil War. Tommy is a real hero. The Civil War on both sides, they're the real heroes. They really understand sacrifice. We're just inconvenienced. We can afford to laugh at it. But I think it's important, and I'm glad you did this, to separate Tommy from us and say that this is another level here. He will be killed. They threw boiling water on him the previous time he was incarcerated.
With bleach.
And he managed to deke it out and take the guy down.
And there's a video of him taking on 9 Antifa guys, and he's a little guy. They're big guys. They're just true villains. And all that Antifa will attack women. They'll attack children, and they're proud of it. They just have no honor, Gavin. There's something missing.
I've never seen one of them punch someone dead in the face straight on. It's always from behind. It's always through a crowd. There's no honor there. There's no chivalry. And one thing I wanted to mention earlier, by the way, 50% of these texts I'm getting are white genocide, genocide. And I thought it was ironic because, first of all, genocide is a very rare and bizarre thing. It's very esoteric. I've never met anyone who wants genocide. We had it with Milosevic, I guess. We had ethnic cleansing in the Bosnian War, and we had it with Pol Pot and obviously Hitler and Stalin. But it is very esoteric. And the only time you really see it is with socialists. So isn't that ironic that all these socialists are talking about genocide? Meanwhile, they're the ones with the genocide all over the history books. They should be apologizing to us.
It really is incredible. And you see them with metal batons trying to kill people, and then they get their ass knocked out, and then Twitter takes down the video saying, we're bullies. No, you're bullies getting put on your asses, and you can't stand it. Unbelievable. Gavin McInnes, thank you so much for spending time with us. Just lastly, I'm going to play this clip and get your take. It's up on Infowars.com. It's the top story on DrudgeReport.com. Top resistance member admits he gets paid by higher-ups to sow the division, and it's Brian Krasensten's stunning admissions caught on camera. This is with the guy that Twitter promotes at the top under all of Trump's tweets. Here it is.
Or is that your job?
I have several businesses, but, you know, the resistance is a really good group of people that's spread throughout the country, probably throughout the world. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just what I enjoy spending my time doing. And of course we get paid, you know? Of course those higher-ups pay us.
So you're paid for this? It's not just like something you do because for your love of country?
Yeah, I mean, people pay us. They want us to help sow the division and to take over Trump's Twitter feed. When he makes a post, they want our tweets to be up there. They don't want other people to, like, Trump supporters to be seen in that.
And that's why they got rid of InfoWars comments that had thousands on every article, also based in San Francisco. The whole commenting system we were using, that was taken away because they don't want you to be able to meet. They don't want you to be able to talk. They don't want you to have any reassurance that other people think like you. They want you isolated and alone, just like Sean Parker said at Facebook. Their job was to isolate you, make you alone, and then have fake liberal bots that are your friends that slowly radicalize you, Gavin.
Well, you've been saying this forever, and it was called a conspiracy theory, but all a conspiracy means is that people are conspiring. And now it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that people are conspiring. This guy is admitting he gets money from up top. That implies Soros to me. I've had nothing but hassle since I criticized Soros. Ezra Levant has had nothing but lawfare since he criticized Soros.
Me too.
You've had nothing but problems since you brought up these people conspiring, and conspiracy theory is just used as a negative term now, and they shut you down. You say, hey, are you guys conspiring? No, and you're shut down for asking. That seems unusual, doesn't it?
And then they have big tech meeting in secret to continue it. It's incredible. Well, we'll be watching CRTV.com, and we'll obviously play some clips here. When you talk to Tommy, he'll probably be on with us today or tomorrow as well. Got the big court case tomorrow. Be safe, Gavin McInnes.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Wow, I tell you, these are just crazy times. And we are separating here the level Tommy's at with the level we're at, but we're quickly going into that level of persecution, and I'm not happy about that. But they talk about they go low, we go high. They've already gone to the very, very bottom, ladies and gentlemen. These are not liberals. These are authoritarian monsters. Now, listen, we do have three specials up at the same time right now because I haven't gotten rid of the X-Tube 25% off special. And we have the new 40% off bestseller, nootropic, Brain Force, plus now 20% more in each bottle, and the amazing Secret 12, pure, strong vitamin B12, methylcobalamin, and acetylcobalamin, if I'm saying it right. The two work together in unison. BuzzFeed even had our stuff tested and found it was the strongest, best vitamin B12 in the market. Because they said, oh, Jones's is okay. It was pure, but this is the best brand. Ours is private labeled from that, morons. So BuzzFeed found that we have the very best vitamin B12 on the market at the lowest price. I always enjoy how that blew up in their face. And they're trying to shut us down. We have 8 business days left with PayPal as one of our main payment processors. So you might want to dump your PayPal wallets. They're at InfoWarsStore.com on water filtration, air filtration, non-GMO heirloom seeds, books, T-shirts, supplements, and help fund the InfoWars as a protest and then cancel PayPal. And I've got a treat for PayPal in the next few days as well. So I'll leave it at that. But expanding on all of that, last run of X2, I hope to get another deeper source, but with the oil company that gets us at 12,000 feet, I've not been able to make a deal. They keep jacking up the prices, so I broke the contract, and this is the last run of X2, the amazing good halogen. Hopefully we get a replacement, InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. And 50% off on Super Male and Super Female Vitality. That, too, went up in price. It's cold pressed. It's an amazing product. This is the last run of that as well. So get it while you still can. Stay with us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason they want InfoWars off the air, and it's because I've studied geopolitical systems since I was 10 years old because I just was attracted to it and got into history books and learned how they operate. And I'm able to make predictions that are spot on over and over again. Everybody knows that. And I can see pre-programming. But these predictions weren't hard. Last Tuesday, I did a live feed here. We put the clip up on Real.video and on Infowars.com. And it had the headline that Alex Jones predicts Democrats are going to roll out more women, specifically 3 more after Ford. And I said, one will be the weekend before the vote, and then one will be 2 days before the vote, and then another will be the night before the vote. Well, they've now, Anavetti said last night it'll be 48 hours. That'd be the night before the vote. So a 100% perfect prediction. And if I go into how I know it's fake and all the rest of it takes hours. That's what knowledge is. What wisdom is just so much. It'd take all day to explain it. But a lot of it's, they didn't bring out the stuff 6-7 weeks ago. They waited till the last minute. It's meant to fall apart. It doesn't matter. The next fraud covers the last fraud. But it's unraveling even faster. The seedy weirdo lawyer, Anavetti, locks Twitter, admits Kavanaugh accuser might not appear. This other one, he said, we're going to get into the definition of intercourse, of penetration, all these tantalizing points. Meanwhile, Kavanaugh's come out and said, I didn't have sex till in the middle of college. We're going to play a powerful clip here in a moment, also from Tucker Carlson with the interview and more. But this whole thing is unraveling very quick. Mike Adams is another big report. Bombshell. Christine Blasey Ford's letter to Senator Dianne Feinstein, revealed to be a total fake, contains 14 glaring errors that could only be committed by a poorly educated writer. So we're going to get into all of that as well. But this is a 5-minute clip. We're going to post it to Infowars.com. I probably won't play all of it. But here I am last Tuesday, I guess that was the 19th, laying out exactly the exact, because I know how they operate. It's like, I even asked myself, how do you always know this stuff? And it's like, you just get the feel for these turds. Because you know phonies when you see it, and then you think, well, how have they done it in the past, and how will they try to cover the last fraud with the next fraud? Here it is. And so mark my words, there are more women who are either going to see this in the news and figure out that they went to the same town and the same school, the same area as Kavanaugh, that are going to have the memories, the snowball, the mockingbird effect. But they're not going to need to do that because they're getting contacted just like The Sun came up this morning by the Washington Post, the New York Times, BuzzFeed, Think Progress, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, Media Matters. All of them are using data mining and are hounding and calling every woman in that town where Kavanaugh grew up. We'll be going over that here today. So how do you respond to that? You have to data mine. The Republicans have to, legally and lawfully, and they have to contact, because a bunch of the women are going to go, yeah, I got called 6 weeks ago within days of him being the nominee. And they were really, really pushy. But I remember Brett being a great guy. They've obviously already contacted him. They got 65 women saying he's a real sport. But I guarantee you they've been contacted by the Democrats. You roll them out, it's game over. This woman has all the telltale signs of doing this for political gain. And if you know how they operate, they go through Democratic Party databases they've got of super activists, professors, operatives like this lady. And then they put out feelers to anyone that they can cross-reference that was the same age, lived in the same town as their target. I've gotten calls from dozens of former high school associates who didn't even really know me, may have talked to me, may have been in class with me, saying, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, I barely do. The New York Times, the Washington Post, BuzzFeed is calling me. And then when I told them nothing but nice stuff, they called back and said, well, we'll do a big profile on you if you tell us something. And then closer associates that have actually worked around me, they start threatening them. Well, you're going to be in this piece. It's going to be very damaging to you unless you tell us. And so what they do is they then have law firms and media contact everyone in the database and say, wow, you went to school with Brett Kavanaugh, didn't you? And they lead them. Or you went to school with Alex Jones. I heard he was a pretty bad guy. And if they say, oh, no, he's a great guy, well, they'll go, well, thanks a lot. Click. Oh, yeah, Brett Kavanaugh, he's terrible. Yeah. I went to school with him? Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, it's here in the school annual, and you were 2 years younger than him. And you see how that works? See how that works? And then now you're like, yeah, I remember. You know the Democrats are calling every woman that grew up in the same town as Kavanaugh, and they're contacting with databases of anybody that is a Hillary Clinton-loving, man-hating leftist like this man-hating leftist professor who's expunged her social records, covering all this up. They sit on it for 6 weeks until he's days out from confirmation vote next week, and then they drop this. Ladies and gentlemen, you know they've contacted a whole slew of women. And if I know their pattern, they're going to release one lady, let her get hit by the barbed wire, let it be criticized, and then boom, release another woman and then another woman. And they're all going to be former Democratic Party operatives. They're all going to be the pussy hat wearers. They're all going to be the same very cut. And the key to Congress is getting ahead of this and demanding an investigation into who contacted them and swearing them in under oath and demanding discovery. You heard it here first. There will be more women in the next week and a half that come out ahead of the confirmation vote next week. And if the Republicans blink and have a bunch of show trial hearings and a bunch of virtue signaling, like different White House officials are now saying, Kavanaugh will not get confirmed. And there will be women coming forward and accusing every nominee that Trump brings forward, period. This is the strategy. This is how they create the snowball effect. The Democrats also, to come after me and Trump and others, we've confirmed it. They've admitted it. Media Matters a year ago leaked a document where they battle plan it. George Soros funds it. They will run a database of everybody you went to college with, high school with, or worked with. They have databases now, and they have groups that go back and get your annuals, get the names, and then run those through if you went to school pre-internet. So how do you respond to that? You have to data mine. The Republicans have to, legally and lawfully, and they have to contact, because a bunch of the women are going to go, yeah, I got called 6 weeks ago within days of him being the nominee. And by the way, whoever grabbed from me from hours on Tuesday and put this together did a great job. What I'm really looking for, and this was great, I want the clips. I remember saying it, that they'll bring it out the weekend before the next woman, and then about 3 days before the final vote, they'll have another, and then they'll have another the night of or the day of the vote. So I know I said specifically what they're doing, but still, it's good enough what we got there. So, people need to learn. I don't just say this stuff, okay? I live this. This is all I do. I dream about this at night. All I do is study. I am totally immersed. And we know their operations. Now, when I come back, very powerful Tucker Carlson point. He's the smartest guy on Fox News. Hannity's great and very dynamic and wonderful and everything, but Tucker is the smartest person on Fox News. And he just goes right to the heart that no one else is pointing out except us. Where's the due process? Where's the innocent until proven guilty? The mantra by the Democrats with me or anybody else is, we sue you, you're guilty. We have a Russia investigation, you're guilty. A woman says 36 years ago you did something. None of it adds up. None of the witnesses say you're telling the truth. It doesn't matter. Your life is ruined, Kavanaugh, because I'm a psychology professor with horrible ratings that everyone hates, who was a huge party tart in school, and there's no evidence I ever met you, but I say you are going to be destroyed. I say it. Your life's over. I rule Earth. My name's Ford. I told you that Trump was going to win the 2016 election. I told you that the New York Times algorithm that said 98% chance Hillary was going to win until Election Day was as phony as a plastic banana that met a $3 bill that had lunch with the Easter Bunny at the Tea Party in Alice in Wonderland. And the tablecloth was Obama's birth certificate. That's fake. So, pulling back from all this, we can sit here and be very positive about everything, but I knew how hysterical they were the last 3 months. And when they were saying Hillary 100% is invincible, she will be president, there were a whole bunch of big bot companies that can track with AI what you're saying and what you're doing in your text messages and your private messages on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And they had experts culling all that. They also had all these real surveys going on by tech companies of their own people, and then real polls. Like the polls you see on the news are usually skewed by whoever pays for them. There's phony $3 bill, as I just said. But you know they do real polls. They do internal polls, and they showed Trump with a 15-point lead. He dipped to like a 5-point lead on the first debate, and I talked to folks that had seen the polls, and I'm not at liberty to get into it, but I'm just going to stop right there. And that's when I went crazy. And Drudge linked to it, all of it, and said, Trump, you better get aggressive, buddy, or you're done. Whoever talked him into being nice to her at the first debate, not a good idea. He came out and said, you need to go to prison. You're a piece of filth. Here's the women. You know, you raped Bill Clinton. Boom, back to 15 points. Here's the problem. They've got illegals and people voting the names of dead folks everywhere in what, like 30-something states where Democrats had control. They're scared because Republicans have control of the majority of states now and are reversing that and bringing in voter motor ID, and you got to have a driver's license. Of course you got to have a driver's license. The Democrats are saying let illegals vote, let people vote. In fact, I never played this last week. Pull it up. Democrats in speeches say vote early and vote often. Bill Clinton talked about that. So did Obama. So I want to be 100% clear. I go to the mall, and I like to go to a more working class / middle class mall, because there's these malls in Austin that are like just too fancy for me. I like going to the old-fashioned Barton Creek Mall when it's, 110 degrees. So kind of walk the kids around, get some exercise, go eat, go shopping a little bit. I get mobbed by Hispanics. The conservative families, the liberal families, the guys with tattoos and gold chains, mobbed. I mean, love me. Because they want America, they want free market, they want success, and they get being mavericks mobbed. Hispanics are my biggest fans in Austin. I've experienced it all over Texas. I can be in a little bitty town and walk into some barbecue place. I'm just mobbed by the Hispanic folks. Because they're Americans and they smell BS. Now, the leftist Hispanics being brainwashed in campuses, you know, not so much. But that's everybody going there. But black folks, white people, you name it. But if I go to a university area or a upper middle class or rich white area, I'm going to a birthday party with one of my daughters and it's a mansion. And I'm pulling up, and I'm going to, like, a car will pull by in a Mercedes and go, F you, Alex Jones. And it's like a $150,000 Mercedes. And my girls are with me. This happened a few weeks ago. And I don't say anything. I just go, say something like, you. And it's always some rich woman, some rich. And I'm not putting white people down. But let me tell you, the jerks are rich white people, okay? 80% of the Democrat, 80% of Congress, the money is Democrats. There's this idea that conservatives have the money. No, they don't. No, they don't. And I'm not doing class envy here. The middle class is mainly conservative, but the rich people, they game everything. They want government control. They're the jerks. And, man, you look at all these professors and everyone, 9 times out of 10, it's some weird, whack job, liberal white dude or woman up there preaching the opposite of Martin Luther King. Document cam shot, please, if you're watching on TV. Here's Martin Luther King. MLK. Here is Hillary Rodham Clinton. She's over here with sexual and racial divide, and Martin Luther King's over here. Well, I'm right here. The left is over here. And it's a fact. You're not with Martin Luther King. And that's just a fact, so you better get used to that. So, Trump is going to win. You're going to win. Unless the fraud is of such a magnitude and they get into computers. But they caught them stealing, what was it? I always get it flipped. They caught Hillary stealing 5 states. And Homeland Security at the local level caught them trying to steal 6 others. They said Homeland Security computers are breaking into state computers in live time trying to flip votes. So here's the deal. The red wave is real. Trump is going to win. You're going to win. We're going to win unless the fraud is just off the charts. So don't worry. Even if they steal it, we have the hearts and minds. I've seen it. I go to Barton Creek Mall. I go to the Cheesecake Factory, and like 10 waiters come over, black, white, Hispanic, all loving me, wanting photos and autographs. And, oh, I heard the show last week. It was so great. And then a Hispanic family buys me dinner. And I'm like, no, don't do it. Oh, no, we already did it. Stop it. And then I go outside, and it's all this. But then I see some deranged-looking white woman with a kid, looks like they're on Prozac. She's like, look. And it's like, you're 1 out of 100, lady. You're losing. I'm a public figure. I'm a bellwether. I can tell you. It's not conservatism. It's free market. It's people wanting to not be played off. People are sick of racism. They're sick of the left pushing it constantly. You'd have to be an idiot not to see what they're doing. It's backfired on you. So keep pushing. Keep pressuring people. Let's play a few minutes of Tucker Carlson, though, laying all this out. Whatever happened to guilty until proven innocent in the Soviet Union? We know that's a bad thing. We're innocent until proven guilty. Whatever happened to us waking up to that? Here it is.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Brett Kavanaugh just finished speaking with Martha MacCallum. He pushed back pretty aggressively against attacks on his personal integrity and his decency, and he denied completely all of the sexual allegations against him. In doing that, he at times provided a level of information about his personal life that would have been unthinkable just days ago.
Through all these years that are in question, you were a virgin.
That's correct.
Never had sexual intercourse with anyone in high school?
Correct.
And through what years in college, since we're probing into your personal life here?
Many years after. I'll leave it at that. Many years after.
Wow, not your conventional interview. He was asked repeatedly by Martha, again, about the accusations against him. His wife sat by him as he denied all of them.
I'm not going to let false accusations drive us out of this process, and we're looking for a fair process where I can be heard and defend my integrity, my lifelong record.
Nobody expected anything like this when that confirmation process started. We're going to have more from Martha's interview with Brett Kavanaugh and his wife. Martha herself will join us on the set a little bit later in the show to tell us what it was like in that room. But first, we typically open this hour by talking to someone we disagree with. We believe in straightforward debate on this show. Americans have been talking through their differences for more than 200 years, and it's worked pretty well. We think all of us reach wiser conclusions when both sides have their say, when everybody gets to talk, and we'll continue to do that. But tonight, we want to pause for a minute. We'll invite guests on later in the hour. First, though, it's worth considering what we've learned from the debate over Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. This feels like a turning point, something entirely new in the life of this country. We certainly had bitter and partisan debates over judicial nominations before, a lot of them. Robert Bork in '87, Clarence Thomas 4 years later. There are many others. Shortly after being reelected president in 1936, Franklin Roosevelt tried to take over the entire judicial branch of government, packing the court with extra Democrats so he could impose his program on Congress by force. Thankfully, FDR failed in that. But the point is, a lot of this is not new. Politics has always intruded on our justice system. Congress confirms the nominees, so it's inherently political, always has been. Yet some of this we have not seen before. It's entirely new. Never in our lifetimes have sitting members of Congress attacked our justice system as they now are. Lawmakers haven't mocked the idea of due process or called for the collective punishment of American citizens or declared that the burden of proof is on the accused rather than the accuser. All of that is happening right now in Washington and more. It's not just Brett Kavanaugh who's under assault. Elected officials have announced they no longer believe in our Western understanding of justice.
All right, we're going to hit pause. We're going to come back and play this with the Democrats saying, look, if a woman accuses you, you go to prison. No judge, no jury, you're just going to prison. I mean, this is a power grab. Meanwhile, the same Democrats support radical Islam, literally wholesale enslaving women. Third hour, going to open the phones up as well. Stay with us. Spread the links. Guilty until proven innocent. That is the new Democrat credo. If you're a man, sit down and shut up. This is our big, open, free society, creating a vacuum for authoritarians to come in and say because they're a woman or whatever that all due process is thrown out the window. Here's Tucker Carlson breaking it down.
The accuser. All of that is happening right now in Washington and more. It's not just Brett Kavanaugh who's under assault. Elected officials have announced they no longer believe in our Western understanding of justice. There's no precedent for that here. It's stunning. You should pay close attention to what's happening because it could affect all of us. The shift began late last week with these remarks from Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono. Watch.
I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change. Not only do women like Dr. Ford, who bravely comes forward, need to be heard, but they need to be believed.
So there you have it. All men are guilty, not because they've been proved guilty, but because they are men. They are inherently guilty by their nature. All women must be believed, not because we can show they're telling the truth, but because they are female. Evidence is irrelevant in both cases. All that matters is DNA. All of us are condemned or redeemed at birth, and there's nothing any of us can do to change that. It's baked in the cake.
Can pause real quick. Where'd I hear of that? Like Hitler? That's what I mean. The left knows racism works with dumbed-down people. And so they're double-crossing the entire social compact in America and worldwide. They are literally promoting just outrageous crap. Don't look at somebody about who they are and what they do. Look at what sex they are, what color they are. It's outrageous, but they're betting you're idiots. I'm betting, Trump is betting, Matt Drudge is betting, Patriots are betting, Tucker Carlson is betting that you're not like that. Let's continue.
No living U.S. senator has ever said anything like that in public. Yet none of Hirono's Democratic colleagues recoiled or even scolded her or suggested she was wrong. They seemed to agree with what she said. Hirono herself did not issue an apology or a clarification. She kept going. Here she is from over the weekend.
Doesn't Kavanaugh have the same presumption of innocence as anyone else in America?
I put his denial in the context of everything that I know about him in terms of how he approaches his cases.
Well, give her credit for directness. According to Senator Hirono, Brett Kavanaugh is not protected by the United States Constitution. He does not enjoy the presumption of innocence. Kavanaugh is guilty because his opponents say he is guilty. That is Senator Hirono's position. She is proud of it.
Pause again. We're going to come back and play more of this, and when we put this up on Infowars.com on our own streams, the full thing. But you understand, they lie about what I say about Sandy Hook, or they lie about, then they sue me. Now they know they're going to lose those lawsuits, so now they just want me off the air and want our payment processor shut down. But just the suit then becomes the reality. And I talk to CBS, I talk to the New York Times, I say, I believe it happened. Here's videos of me 3 years ago saying it. But the public questioned it. Here's the anomalies. We have a right to do that. They never publish it. And they go, now that Jones is being sued, he says it happened. Just like they say that I say, get your battle rifles ready. I won't even say it or they'll put it out on air, but and say that I say attack the media. Never said that. Again, they aren't following any rules, folks. No chivalry, no decorum, no civilization. They're a lawless group, these globalists are, the mainstream media, of just cheaters. But the good news is the world is rejecting them. They're all in their own leftist law firm bubbles. But it's going to come crashing down on all these arrogant SOBs. We'll be back. We'll give the number out and take your calls as well. We are innocent until proven guilty. 2 + 2 does equal 4. This is America, and she's coming back. I'm going to give the number out next segment and take your calls, but I want right now to air part of the speech I gave at the Free Alex Jones rally that was taking place this Saturday. Here it is, transmitting worldwide. So you folks are awesome to come out here. This whole impromptu thing is great, but let's free America and free the world and free the internet. Yeah! And just today, Trump put out the leaked version of the executive orders to start busting up big tech and the communist Chinese operation. And the communist Chinese, allied with the globalists, have literally taken control of much of this country and shut us industrially down. But President Trump is reversing all of that, and that's why big tech isn't just censoring me. They're censoring all of you and tens of millions of others in America and billions of people worldwide, because Google and Facebook and Twitter and Apple have always been evil. They use their leftist cover as the excuse for all the evil they do. Google has always been evil, and now the head of Google lied and said they don't censor conservatives. That is a total lie. And everyone knows that they do it. So here's the good news. We have the undercover video. We have their emails. We have their own head people admitting it. We have them lying. We have them refusing to go before Congress. Google has refused to work with the U.S. military with its AI program, but officially works with the government of China because they love, and it's not that our government's perfect, but compared to the communist Chinese, good God, they killed 110 million of their own people. That's 5 times what Hitler killed, and they think we're a bunch of idiots. They think that we don't understand what's happening. They think they're going to lie. They play this semantical game. They go, we don't censor Christians. We don't censor conservatives. We don't censor libertarians. We don't censor anybody who's, but we censor hate. So then they define conservatism and nationalism as hate, and that's how they play this game. The truth is Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, their terms of service say you can't be a Christian or conservative or nationalist or patriot, and they are criminal frauds, and their entire operation is going down. Let me tell you something. Since the 70s, the globalists have moved all our jobs to China. They've moved it all there to exploit the planet. But China doesn't have raw materials. Their supply lines are cut off. And these executive orders that Trump is about to execute cut off China and cut off the EU and cut off big tech. They thought they had America down to the last minute, and they had all their followers and their collaborators and their leftists raised with the Maoist brainwashing and propaganda on these universities. They thought they had America. But just like every time it's happened, it doesn't get better until the last minute of the last hour. And now the sleeping giants of humanity, not just here, but from areas of Europe to South America to Asia, are waking up to the authoritarian globalists. criminals at Google and Facebook and Twitter have already gotten away with censorship and spying on you and working with China to arrest dissidents doesn't mean they'll get away with it forever. And by confronting them, we got them to move early with the censorship they were planning after the election. And after we got them to move early, they've now been exposed and they've now been caught lying, and there's no way they'll ever reverse course. So look, I'm glad that all you guys had this free Alex Jones rally, and that's awesome. And I'm glad you're out here. You notice the Antifa scum funded by the left isn't here. Because their terrorist funding by Soros has come out, and all over the country, when they come out and attack people, even in blue cities like Austin, they're getting their asses arrested because they are terrorist criminals. They're the terrorist criminals that want to tell us we don't have free speech, and they want to assault women and children. Well, guess what, assholes? You thought you defeated America? All you did was wake her up! So get ready! They think they can censor you. They think they can censor me. They think that the intimidation that works on their slaves works on us. All it does is motivate us to take action, and that's what we're doing here today. So remember, the globalist head of Google says they're not censoring any conservatives. We have his own promotional video 2 years ago when they lost the election, 20 months ago, admitting that don't worry, we'll hand it back to the Democrats after this. We'll stop Trump. And we have all their internal documents and all their admissions. And that's why that arrogant person who's allied with China, helping set up censorship search engines to round up political dissidents. They'd love to do that here, and it's what they're building here, and it's what they're doing here. But their own employees were told this week, and they leaked it, you must erase off your personal computers everything about our secret Dragonfly program with China for a worldwide censorship program. And their own employees alerted the media. So the beginning of the end has begun. Google and Facebook and Twitter, traitors in our government, created an NSA system to spy on us. But they knew there were checks and balances. So they transferred it to private consortiums. Then they moved it to China to set up operations against America. What do you think the last 3-4 years have been is the beginning of the end. China will have its raw materials completely cut off within 6 months. U.S. fleets are now surrounding it. We already have deals with Russia. China and the communists are going down. America holds all the cards. And the Quislings inside the Democratic Party and inside the corporate media and inside Hollywood better get ready to lose, lose, lose. Because America is getting ready to win, win, win. And like President Trump says, you're going to get so sick of winning and winning and winning and winning. You're going to say, my God, I'm getting sick of this winning. And I'm going to say, sorry, just get ready for more winning. The dirty, murdering leftists in Hollywood, the pedophile devil worshippers allied with the evil communist Chinese. They think they'll break America's will. They think because they censor us on their platforms, it'll make us go away. It's just going to make us hit the strings. So I want to encourage every one of you to realize, don't look for Alex Jones to lead you or Donald Trump to lead you. You keep doing your videos on your own platforms and the enemy's platforms, and you confront their systems, and you get in their face, and you expose them when they go, oh, Alex Jones is mean. He questioned public events. Oh, Alex Jones is bad. That's them projecting. They're the ones working with authoritarian regimes like the EU and the communist Chinese that have killed over 100 million of their own poor, sweet people. They're the leftist media that funded the Arab Spring that killed over 2 million people and brought total tyranny to a bunch of our allies in the Middle East. They're the cold-blooded criminals that want to use their power of super tech to oppress humanity. And monsters like Tim Cook, with his slave factories at Foxconn, and Apple, and all the rest of these people think we're their slaves. They think that we are going to submit to them. But the truth is, you have awoken, and nothing's going to stop you, and the enemy knows it. So as long as you stay the course, as long as you take action, as long as you stand up to all the power-tripping little weirdo professors and all the scum that have been promised that they'll have the spoils of what's left of America, as long as you do that, you are unstoppable. All these leftists and authoritarians try to intimidate us because they're cowards. They think cozying up under the establishment gives them power. They think that when we get censored and attacked, that makes us give up. We're trying to change the world. We expected to have this fight happen. Yes, we expected to be persecuted. Yes, we expected to be attacked. Yes, and guess what? Here's the good news. A lot of people in history fight tyranny, and they don't see results in their lifetimes. But you know what? We're seeing results right now. We're seeing massive, massive, massive results right now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. It is an honor and a pleasure to stand up against these scum. You know, there's so much incredibly vital news breaking at newswars.com and infowars.com and prisonplanet.com and drugsreport.com for that matter that I can't even keep track of it. But I'm going to try now in this segment and then open the phones up and take your calls because those are so amazing. But Faith Goldy is this super good-looking, super smart, awesome libertarian conservative lady in Toronto. And she's been with the Rebel and she's been with newspapers and she's been censored up there. And they're so scared of her because she's super smart, super good-looking. They claim they love women in the left. No, they want to control women. And so I've looked at the polls. She's number 2, number 3, and number 4 out of more than 10 candidates. And they know if she gets up on stage, Toronto will be charmed by her and she'll win. So what does the left do in this climate of total censorship? She's number 3 in polls on average. They've got, 5 other candidates up there on stage who are, so boring and make you want to commit suicide. I don't want to commit suicide. That's a joke. It's a turn of phrase. They'll probably kill me today and say I want to commit suicide. No, I never commit suicide. And they drag her off and manhandle her, the police do. And, of course, it totally backfired. But I love how they try to suppress this. They got 5 other candidates up there. She's in 2nd or 3rd place, depending on the poll. And it's incredible. So go ahead, bullies. You try to censor. I'm sure Twitter will ban her probably today in unison. It's not going to work. All over the world, they're trying to block this. And I want women in Congress. I don't care what color they are. I don't care how good looking they are. I care about their brain and if they stand for freedom. But she's sexy, okay? The fact that she's good looking and into liberty and has courage. I mean, I'm married, and I love my wife. She's sexy and smart too. But, I mean, this has got my alarm bells going off here pretty bad. I want to get her on the show. I knew who she was. In fact, I wanted her on before, but we're going to get her on. But this has blown up in their face. This is so beautiful. I mean, this is what it's... When they censor you, just use it against them. Here is the clip. The story's by Don Salazar. It's up on Infowars.com. Get it out to everybody. Toronto police drag pro-Trump mayoral candidate off the debate stage, despite the fact that she's number 3 in major polls, and despite the fact that they had thousands and thousands, 5,000 plus, sign a petition for her to be there. Here it is.
Sorry, we cannot allow you to disrupt this debate.
Let faith speak! Let faith speak!
And then we're going to move anybody. Bye, Felicia. Get out of here!
Communists!
And let's just say it. They're completely threatened by her. They're completely threatened because she's smart, she's sexy, everything. Let's play the full clip, though, because when she first walks up, she says, oh, I must have missed my invitation. She's so gentlemanly, ladylike, they don't care. So I want to play from the very beginning with the text and everything, guys, because it's got some key points. Here it is.
Good morning. Sorry, I must have missed my invitation in mail. My name's Faith Goldy.
Get her out of here. There's supposed to be enough hormones in the water that you don't look like that. We're not supposed to see women look like women anymore. Get that goddess out of here. We own that now. Get her out of here.
Let faith speak. Let faith speak. Let faith speak. Let faith speak.
We don't want her strutting around up there with all her star appeal.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Get that winner off the stage. If you let that horse run, she'll win. God, she's a winner. Good Lord. You know, if she was a leftist, they'd have her up there. She couldn't even talk with those legs.
Let faith speak.
And then we're going to move anybody. Bye, Felicia. Get out of here.
Communists.
And the police just manhandle her out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
These guys are artsy fartsy and not letting me on the debate stage.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I was presenting a petition with 5,000 signatures, sir. We love our officers. We're the only ones who see them right. I did run. I have got higher polling numbers than 3 of the guys out there.
Excuse me, sir. And so the cop's like, everybody that runs gets to be up there. She's like, I did run. I'm number 3 in the polls. He's like, what? So there you go. She'd be the mayor of Toronto. It'd kick off a sensation all across the Western world of hot libertarian chicks running for office. Can't let that happen. So what do the little globalist tyrants do? What do the little Lilliputians do? What do the little Morlocks do? They say no Eloi are allowed to run. So again, I love the fact. I want to roll it from the beginning. The full video with the text, all of it. 3 is going to be the charm. Let that full video. And I can't tweet it because I'm banned on Twitter. But maybe I'll get Paul Watson to tweet it. It's in Adon Salazar's article, Toronto Police Drag Pro-Trump Mayoral Candidate Off the Stage. Here it is. This morning, Arts Vote held a public debate for mayor of Toronto. Faith Goldie is currently in 3rd highest polling candidate for Toronto mayor. So why was she not invited to the debate?
Good morning. Sorry, I must have missed my invitation mail. My name's Faith Goldie.
See, the wolf whistle, they say, is rape, so I'm going to do it. Nothing sexier than a rebel. And by the way, she could be 4.5 feet tall and weigh 200 pounds. I'd still love her.
Let faith speak.
But that's leprechaun bait right there, I tell you. I love it. A woman standing up against tyranny. And she'd be the winner. She's already 3rd place. God, they're so scared of her. But they're like, no, 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 no. You will not have her.
Bye, Felicia.
But here's the thing. We can beat these people, and we're just going to get more involved and more engaged. And even if she doesn't win this round, she'll win the next round. This is amazing. You can see the cop there asking her for the phone number. Who can blame him? All right. I'm going to come back and open the phones up and get into a bunch of other news we haven't hit yet. Infowars.com, newswars.com. Remember, we're the most banned transmission in the world for a reason. Because we've got the globalist number. By the way, Steve Voss, we used to air Thank God for the Renegades all the time. And I haven't aired it in years. Can we download the whole Thank God for the Renegades? Because I actually saw the George Washington T-shirt that was designed for us by a highly decorated Navy SEAL who was a major leader in the Navy SEALs, in the most elite SEAL team. I'm not going to say who made it. They designed this shirt for us. And we've had it for like a month, and I hadn't seen someone wearing it. And I saw someone wearing it. It does not do justice what's at InfoWarsStore.com, the InfoWars George Washington shirt. Because you forget George Washington was like in 4 wars from the time he was like 16 years old before he beat the British. So this is him in his colonial militia uniform with a hatchet and a musket. And from the historical annals, that's what it was like. A killing machine. Very gentlemanly person, but a killing machine. And very lucky, too. They said, like, dozens and dozens of battles, nobody could shoot him. He'd have holes all through his clothes, you name it. George Washington, the original Patriot T-shirt, is badass. Got a little colonial flag on the back, a tiny InfoWars, so you won't get mugged or attacked by the left because they don't know who George Washington is. But it's there, folks. The spirit of 1776 is really what I'd call that shirt. But it's at InfoWarsStore.com. But I just want to let you know that that's there and so much more. But I'll give you the number. I'll give you the number now. It's 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. We'll be right back, 877-789-2539 on this global transmission, 42 days out. All right, I'm going to go to your phone calls now. You know, we can talk about the good news because we can turn things around, but the truth is we're pretty far down the rat hole right now. But spirit is what drives flesh. And studies actually show this. And what I'm about to tell you, and then go to your calls, is another key of destiny. And that's why the enemy hates this broadcast. And you know that. See, I don't just say this is a key to destiny. This is a key of destiny. There are many keys to destiny. I wrote a book called The Keys of Destiny. I had dreams about that. But the point is, they've shown in so many studies it'll make your head spin that countervailing, if you have will and you have soul and if you are infertile and you haven't had your ovaries cut out, you can still have kids if you focus on it and really try. In many cases, that your will affects it. Because your will reaches out to God and to the universe, and it makes things happen. It's not like you just delusionally think you can build whatever, then it happens, like Oprah says. You have to have the basics, but then you can do it. But it has to be for good as well. Or it can be for evil. But we don't even look into those areas. It's called black magic. But all the research shows that what we believe and what we stand for helps manifest. We're made in the image of God, little g. And so that's why they try to dumb us down. It's why they try to demoralize us. It's why they try to attack us. It's why they try to tell us we're pathetic and we're no good and the best plan for the world is a post-human future. Is because, yes, our fertility's dropped 50%. Yes, the sperm are down 85 to 96%, depending on the study in every Western country. And yes, we know what's causing it. The electromagnetic radiation from the cell phones, the glyphosates are the two big causal effects in the main research. But they've also got studies that if you're passionately in love and if you start eating organic and if you even get away from this stuff for even a month or two, your body can bounce back. And that's a metaphor. For they may get us down to where no flesh is spared and we're all sterile, which is the globalist plan. In the satanic program, the destruction of humanity is the ticket or their key to this thing they've been promised by this entity over the space-time continuum, manipulating them. And they try all day, the big tech heads, the big globalists, the royalty, just to get in these big rooms and all just in an interface with this stuff and try to get the messages, which is all fallen. God's not going to give you messages about taking over, but just about the general universe. But these dark entities, the devil and his legions, they're going to give you bad transmissions. And again, even if you don't believe in that, the globalists don't, none of them are atheists. They are on their knees for temporal power on this planet. They have turned themselves over. They do rituals of the most wicked things you can imagine to sear their conscience and cut them off from God so they can be full, wholly owned vessels of the ancient fallen spirit, the off-world entity known as Lucifer, the devil, this alien force. This discombobulated, disconnected spirit. And of course, Tolkien told you, that's why the Lord of the Rings rings so true, because it's this disembodied, fallen angel willing to do all these horrible things, to have power on this planet, and it's seeking to get a body. And that's what the beast is and the computers, and it'll be in the computers, walking around. It will interface. It will consciously possess. The devil's son is not a person. There'll be the devil on earth as a person, but that's only the front. It will be the devil interfacing with the computers. The devil will possess the computers. That's the plan. The whore of Babylon, the system, the false prophet rides, and the Antichrist, a man given power to rule the earth, possessed by the devil. But the devil will possess the machines, and the beast will be one with Lucifer. You can already see the beginnings of it. 2,000 years ago, prophesied now, the warning. You think God would put us in this position and not give us a transmission? And we're meant to go through this because nothing good is free. You have to make the choice. You make it past this plane of existence, you're going to look back on this and say, my God, it's so pathetic that so many people got lost, because not everybody's meant to go to the next level. You think your spirit that's so ancient, put into your mother's womb before you're ever conceived, God do before you're ever in your mother's womb, do you think God likes the fact that he's going to lose a lot of you? God doesn't like that. But you are a new entity. You are an entire universe in yourself. You have choice. And so God loves you so much, give you free will, and God cries and weeps over every child he loses. My point is U.S. fertility rate drops to all-time lows, cuts in half since the 50s. That's the bad news. But the good news is we are able to regenerate. And when we spiritually realign, that can regenerate our bodies and everything else. And the enemy knows that. We have unlimited power, but only through God and his son, Jesus Christ. And that name the enemy hates above all others. Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. Say the name. All right, I'm taking calls for 2 segments, so I want to get to as many as I can. And Paul Watson is taking over from London, England, with a loaded quiver of arrows against the globalist. All right, who's been holding the longest here? Let's go ahead and talk to Jefferson in Virginia. Jefferson, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Alex, it's an honor to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, brother.
I'd like to mention that Matt Bracken and Mike Adams seem to be on the same page about what President Trump needs to do, and I think we need to embrace it every day, that we're not going to get through this with half measures. We have to declare a national emergency and stop worrying about SCOTUS appointments and elections. They're not going to matter in the national emergency scenario.
Well, the Democrats and the deep state are ignoring the laws. They say they're trying to kill the president, 25th Amendment. They say that they're in mutiny. So that's a form of martial law by private corporate groups with the Chi-Coms. So it is illegal. And so I don't like martial law. They've already put us into it. So I agree. Here's the problem. Even the idea that he'd fire Rosenstein, they plunged the stock market. So Trump's got to be very, very careful how he moves on this. I mean, I guess he could nationalize it completely and jack it up to whatever he wanted. But the point is, they've brought us here. It's like no one wants a war, but they're bringing us here. So what do we do?
Well, it's a little like the knife fight in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Who are you going to be? The guy that's challenging Butch, and then Butch goes around the rules. There are no rules in a knife fight, but we keep thinking there are rules, and the deep state doesn't play by the rules, so we keep losing. We have to undermine the swamp to drain it. We can't.
I understand, but you get becoming the swamp by trying to, fight it that way. But I get what you're saying is martial law just means the laws aren't being followed. Well, they've already put us into martial law. Obama signed executive orders putting us in one. Trump should rescind it. I think he should have national addresses. He hasn't done it yet, and just point this out and ask us what we think. And I think that enough. Just the idea of him releasing classified documents showing what traitors they are has already made them crap their britches. But I'm very judicious about this. But more and more, the point is it's not radical to say Trump should arrest all these people and have martial law selectively, because they already did it. They're already rogue. So, yes, that is now legitimate if he does it. I don't know if it's the best move, and that's a gut level. I think the best move is having a discussion about it to show these people in the power structure where they've brought us.
We can talk all day. They're always going to double down on threatening crashing the stock market and things of that nature. But that's actually an opportunity, I think, to fix things. If they go that route, we can get rid of the Federal Reserve Act. We can get rid of the Federal Reserve controlled by Europe.
But here's the deal. Don't you know Trump's already talked about this a year and a half ago? Here's the issue. Bringing the economy back is first and foremost. Defeating the Chi-Coms, sucking hundreds of billions out of us is key. The Federal Reserve's working against him. I cannot disagree with you, and it makes me sick that we've now reached this point. I just don't know. The president's going to have to lead it from the front. If he gives a emergency state of the union to the people and says all this, I will back the president as long as there's court trials for the people once they're arrested, and as long as he can be able to round them up within a month. But yes, I think a civil emergency, CNN, MSNBC, all work for globalists, for Soros. And if the U.S. military went in and took those over, I mean, I think that's the right response at this level. They're trying to overthrow the country. They're openly saying they're going to kill the president. They openly say they're going to shut down free press. I think if he sees the tech giants and all the rest of it, then relinquish control after a 30-day emergency, it's just a very dangerous place. But I think we're going there. I appreciate your call. I think we're already going there, brother. I mean, they're the ones saying 25th Amendment, martial law. We're not going to let deep state do this. So, and I know Trump isn't either, which is but you got to imagine people like Phil Mudd and Mueller. They've had decades of doing whatever they want criminally. So they just think they're invincible. And they don't get, there's a new sheriff in town. Like, we are committed. And I got to say, 90% of the military is on Trump's side. The public's on Trump's side. So we have to explain, though, they brought us to martial law. They brought us to mutiny. They brought us to civil war. So if we can't fix it and the government's just saying no to the president, outside of things, they're rogue. So it is a civil emergency. We're already in one. And I don't think the president knows what to do right now. I'm going to leave it to him. I am not going to sit here and call for this. And it's not because I'm afraid to say it. I had Mike Adams' article. I said it should be entertained because that's where they've taken us. But I don't think we are metaphysically at that point right now. And I think it's up to the president, the commander-in-chief, to decide those points. And I think it's very frightening that we've reached this point. But I'm not going to lie to you that this is on the table. I had a lot of people call me and stuff and say, my God, this is crazy what you're talking about. And I said, they've already done it. You mean to show you where they've done it? What do you do to a belligerent group of criminals on the Chi-Com tit doing this? I mean, that's where we are. Nobody wanted to fight Hitler in 1940, but the son of a bitch kept doing all this crap. You know, you get to a point where you don't like it, but you got to do it. I want to warn the left with fantasies of violence and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. I've looked at every possible angle down this road. Every one of them is particularly bad for you. And I don't have any wish to hurt leftists. I don't need that existential victory over you to feel big. I'm just saying, stop now. Warning. Just you need to stop right now. Because once the gloves are off, man, I mean, once the veneer peels back and we grow our fangs, man, it's just not going to be pretty. You people that are fighting us want to dominate us because we have the spirit and the will. Do you understand that we can be 1,000 times more vicious than you ever imagined? The Christians and the patriots and the conservatives are killing machines. That's why we're so restrained. You are really letting the genie out of the bottle, and I feel sorry for you. Because there's not going to be a rock you're going to be able to hide under. This isn't going to be like past wars. The clock's ticking. Judgment Day. Oh, we got so many great calls here. Ryan in Kentucky. Ryan, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How are you doing?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. I want to talk to you about this PayPal scandal. What's your game plan here? You got people overtaking all these other banks, and it's a big monopoly.
Oh, yeah. PayPal's already bought almost all the other payment processors, and they're trying to shut us down right now. I mean, so what am I supposed to do? It just shows the Nazis wouldn't let Jews buy or sell. So this is the first thing they do. When the Bolsheviks took over in 1917, first thing they did was kill banking, take over the trains and the telephones. So it's here. So what do we do? I don't know. What do we do?
Yeah. So you've got all these articles coming out. Buy the Amazon stock. It's skyrocketing. So it's just a game plan to get them there. What are you doing for the people that are releasing all these articles about you stating, oh, typical InfoWars, typical Alex Jones, buy my stuff now because you can't in the future? How do we go about getting it? And what do you have to say to those people?
Well, I mean, look, Jeff Bezos can sell all the vitamins in the world, and then I sell them. I'm a bad guy. So they're always going to go, oh, look, he funds himself. How dirty. Oh, my God, that's bad. I mean, it's just none of it. No one even reads it. No one even buys it. It's the corporates believing they have a cover for what they're doing. So they see all the propaganda and think, oh, people are buying it. It's having the opposite effect. I mean, it shows what they want to do to you. It shows how they want to shut all of you down from commerce. And they believe, because they're a bunch of followers, that if they intimidate you by hurting me, that'll make you get in line. I'm betting on you and think it just makes you mad. And by the way, people have been really supporting us. We were shadow banned for over a year, having trouble raising money. because we were still trying to focus on their platforms. Now that we're focusing on Infowars.com and Newswars.com, we're doing pretty darn good. Now, a big winter could come, and they got a lot of dirty tricks. We need more support now than ever. But all I've got is the truth. I mean, I can just sit here and tell you right now, I appreciate everybody's support. And people should get X2. They should get Super Male Vitality. It's the final batch of that. 40% off Brain Force, Amazing Nootropic. And just sign up for AutoShip. And, you know, the fact is they're going to go after all the other payment processors. But there's a big stuff about to happen with executive orders. And I can tell you that. And there's big stuff happening on the law front in the next 48 hours. So look for that. So they're really forcing their hand. I know the White House and Congress is very concerned about this. The NRA is very concerned about this because they already tried this on the NRA. And so all I can say is, my friend, just keep spreading the articles and the videos, because the number one thing they want is to not have you 42 days out from the election spreading Infowars.com and Newswars.com articles.
So you got to get more specific on these people state to states who are going to be going in for this midterm, because it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people.
Well, you say get specific. Get specific about what?
Okay, most average Joes don't get in and find their facts, dig their facts for state-to-state reps and votes. So, and it's not right to expect them to go blindly vote Republican down the board. Hammer these people while you can, because I'm telling you next, they're going to come after your domain.
Well, sure. Look, I'm not worried about me. I mean, I keep trying to put that message out. I'll be here as long as God wants me to be here. People know the establishment doesn't want Trump in, and they don't want Republicans in, and they want blue bloods in that are Republicans. This entire high-tech spy grid of AI being built is Lucifer, who cannot approach omnipresence, attempting to create an artificial omnipresence. But really, it's not an omnipresence. It's a control grid to make you follow the orders they give so that they can have an omnipresence of falsehood with no free will. Because there is no omnipresence with free will. God has created separate universes so that he would no longer be omnipresent. He still has the omnipresence, but chooses to wall it off by releasing the free will. That's a complex system, but you can figure it out, I'm sure. We're taking phone calls. Paul Watson's coming up in the next segment. He's loaded for bear. He's got the former lead singer of the Misfits on, who's been banned from a big festival in England for daring to promote Infowars.com. Right now, let's go to Bethany in PA and then Judy in Florida. Bethany in PA, thank you for holding so much today.
Hey, Alex Jones, how are you?
I am Peachy King.
Just want to plug your bodies real quick, if I could. It is the best anti-inflammatory pain reliever I have ever taken. I was in a car accident 5 years ago, had severe neck pain, was taking over-the-counter medicine, had doctors prescribe things to me. Nothing worked except for this. I still have little tinges of pain, but I have never had I've never felt like this since before my accident. So thank you so much for your quality products.
Well, no, thank you. Listen, turmeric, and when it's concentrated hundreds of times stronger than it normally is in the root form from India, is a known anti-inflammatory. So that's what I'm saying is turmeric, especially bodies, is 95% curcuminoid, the strongest out there. It works better for me with a pin in my leg and a torn Achilles and all sorts of injuries. It works better for me and for my wife, who has a hip that hurts from tennis and an elbow, than Advil. And I'm not comparing it to Advil. I'm just saying, yes, it's amazing. What happened when you took bodies?
It's you know, it's natural and stuff. It took about a week and a half for me to actually start to feel the pressure in my neck start to just basically release and go away. I'm able to.
And by the way, that's key. It's not like Advil that hits in 3 hours. Exactly. It's a natural anti-inflammatory, so it takes about a week generally for it to really kick in.
Yeah, I had limited head movement. I couldn't really turn my head all the way to the left, my shoulder. I'm now able to move my head from side to side without having this intense pain that I had from the accident. It's been a miracle, honestly, for me.
Well, it's the power of what God gave us through Mother Nature. Bethany, what else is on your mind today?
Just wanted to talk about the censorship that you guys are under. You obviously know it's backfiring in the face big time. I have had 3 of your stickers right on the back of my car, plastered for everybody to see for 3 years. I've had absolutely no reaction until you were banned simultaneously from Facebook, YouTube, all of that. I have had such hostility towards me from the people in my community now that they know what InfoWars is because of the false narrative that they're giving on the mainstream news. I have had people giving me dirty looks, flipping me off, cutting me off in the road. I actually had somebody road rage against me because they saw my bumper stickers. They rolled down their window and started yelling at me about how I'm a racist, how I'm privileged because I'm white, which that's the furthest thing from it. And
again, InfoWars has been like Trump, a new target. So you're getting what the left's thinking. So they're manifesting on you what they're already thinking. So they see InfoWars as a trigger, and that shows the type of bizarre race-baiting brainwashing that they have engineered into their own people. Very, very sad.
Exactly. And what's even more sad is they think that because they are yelling at me and screaming at me and all these profanities, they think that I'm going to do what, the alt-right, what they say does, that I'm going to start fighting with them back. And that's the opposite of what I do. I actually sit there and encourage them to talk to me instead of screaming. Why are you upset? Why do you disagree?
And what do they do once you do that?
They scream louder because they don't have an answer. They're just mad at InfoWars because of the truth, and they are sticking their head in the sand like a bunch of ostriches.
Well, they're seeing you as one-dimensional, not as a person, and it's their time to be hateful. It's their time to be you're a bad person because the media said you were a Nazi when they're funded by George Soros, the Nazi collaborator. Bethany, great points. God bless you. Thanks for the support. We'll be back with more calls. And Paul Joseph Watson from Her Britannic Majesty's London. Look, we got loaded phone lines, but Paul Watson's ready to take over. He's got the former Misfits frontman on who's been banned from a festival for daring tweet Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones articles from Infowars.com, so that's coming up. So I apologize to Judy and Lindsay and everybody else. Get their number and stuff. Tomorrow we'll actually call them and get them on if they can do it. But that's the problem with having 20 phone lines. We get 10 callers on, we can't get the rest. But this is the 4th hour with Paul Joseph Watson. Please don't forget, tomorrow on Wednesday, we're going to go from 8 a.m. until midnight. So that's 16 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Stand with Trump. Stand with InfoWars, stand with free speech, stand with America. Against the tanks of censorship, the tanks of peer pressure, the tanks of oppression, it is all coming up. And you can share the live links at Infowars.com/show. You can still get the Android app, downloaded millions of times. We launched 6 weeks ago, a week before our banning. The Apple app, if you still have it on your phone, is there, but millions downloaded it and then they banned it. So that's there as well. But whatever you do, realize they don't want this broadcast for a reason. We'll show you Antifa saying, kill Trump, kill his family, running Ted Cruz out. DrudgeReport.com, link to it right now. We'll show you it and predict things over and over again. Like I said, 3 accusers will now be walked out against him. Last Tuesday, Kavanaugh. It's all coming up. And finally, people are like, man, you're not making a bigger deal out of this PayPal banning. I can be like Emperor Palpatine and go, help me, I'm weak, oh, help me. Look, they've already taken most of our sponsors. They already kicked us off being able to advertise with our own money online. They've already tried to take my children, had the whole media sit there and put lies there to get to the jury to try to take my kids. They've already done so much, it makes me fight them harder. So it's not that I want you to financially support us because I'm a victim. I want you to financially support us because, A, we're fighting the globalists and really having a big effect, and B, just as important, these are great, great products. Just like our information's game-changing, X2, the last run of it, still the special's up at 25% off. I don't know if I'll ever get X2 again because the contract's broken. I can't get the Deep Earth Crystal source of the best halogen. 50% off Super Male and Super Female Vitality. Price went up on that. It's cold-pressed, amazing herbs for libido, energy, stamina. It's the last run of that. Super Male and Super Female Vitality. Brain Force Plus, the amazing nootropic. Paul loves it. 40% off. 40% off Secret 12. Your financial support. They said we have 10 business days on PayPal as our payment processor. And so, you can still get in there and use PayPal, dump your wallet on us, support us, and then cancel that PayPal. George Soros has bought a controlling interest of it a month ago. People said, well, why did you attack Soros for buying it? I didn't know until I looked it up. I said, I bet Soros is involved. Oh, Soros bought PayPal a month ago. Okay, now I see. Oh, Soros bought into Facebook. He bought into Twitter. Boom, it happens. There are other payment processors. They'll go after those. Look, the point is, I expect to be attacked. Okay? I don't want to be out in the street and have some leftist shoot me or whatever, but if that happens, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm where I need to be. And so I think we're going to win. So sorry to the other callers, Lauren, George, Gerald, Nicole, Gator, Lindsay, Judy, Skylar, Nelson, Danny, Tristan, Eric. We'll get to all of you tomorrow, I promise. If you want to give us your number, we'll call you back, put you front of the line tomorrow. We'll take calls tomorrow. But I want Paul to be able to take over right now. Just remember, I'm not a Netflix show. I'm a real guy being demonized by the whole globalist system to be an example to others. If you stand up to us, we'll destroy you. Well, you're a day late and a dollar short, globalists. We already rebooted America, rebooted nationalism, exposed globalism. And so everything else happens to me is gravy. I don't want to die, but I've already fulfilled my purpose. I intend to keep going on and on and on. And I'm sure that's in God's plan. I certainly hope. So pray for us. Spread the articles. Spread the videos. Financially support us and get great products you need. It is a 360 win. Whatever you do, be part of history now. All right. Speaking of history now, we got 50 minutes left in this transmission. Then the War Room with Owen Schroyer and Roger Stone and others coming up. Spread those live links, Infowars.com/show. And now, Paul Joseph Watson.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, we got a new story breaking at this hour, which has the potential to be the funniest story of the entire year. Creepy porn lawyer Michael Aventi, who of course is the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, he basically came out with some claims a couple of days ago that there was a third Kavanaugh accuser. He said he was 100. He said she was 100% credible. Those were his words, 100% credible. Along with that came these salacious tales of alcohol-fueled gang rape sessions that Kavanaugh, the virgin, apparently engaged in during his younger days. Well, now, mysteriously, just as of today, Michael Aventi locks account after admitting Kavanaugh accuser might not come forward. Now, if these rumors flying around Twitter are true, and again, it's unconfirmed, but this is very much front and center of Twitter right now, it appears that creepy porn lawyer Michael Aventi may have been trolled by a member of 4chan posing as a Kavanaugh victim, claiming that these gang rapes had happened, and it was all complete nonsense. Again, this is unconfirmed as of this hour, but he's locked down his Twitter account. There's the headline out of Breitbart. Attorney Michael Aventi said his client might now not come forward against Brett Kavanaugh, and then locked his Twitter public profile from view. Why might she not come forward? Well, if you go on my Twitter profile, I retweeted a post from somebody who said, quote, "It's because he was embarrassed by a 4chan prank. The woman who had him blaring about a new Kavanaugh accuser and rape gangs was the girlfriend of a 4chan guy. When she went dark, he realized his big reveal was a hoax and he was going to look like a punk." So it could actually be the case that this mysterious third accuser who came forward with all these salacious tales of alcohol-fueled gang rape sessions is completely made up out of thin air.
And let me add this, Paul. We have Jimmy Kimmel saying cut Kavanaugh's wee-wee off. These are the same folks, you know, that called Trump Putin's, you know what, holster. I mean, if we were doing this, we would be arrested. Here's the clip of Kimmel.
Kavanaugh gets confirmed to the Supreme Court. Okay. Well, in return, we get to cut that pesky penis of his off in front of everyone. No? That's not good? No. I thought I had a solution there for a minute. I know.
Paul Watson, go ahead and take over.
Yeah, so now the third accuser appears to be a 4chan troll. Remains to be confirmed, but that could be the case. Of course, we have the second accuser, Deborah Ramirez, who claims that Kavanaugh pulled out his manhood during a drinking game. She admits she has significant gaps in her memories, just as Ford, the original accuser, does. Her best friend, who was supposedly there and supposedly witnessed this, she claims, said she's, quote, never heard of the incident in question. Ramirez gave the New Yorker 6 names who apparently would confirm the story. All of them said it never happened. Even the New York Times, no fan of Trump or Kavanaugh, couldn't find anyone to corroborate.
But Paul,
the story.
that's my question. Why did both these women give 5, 6 names apiece? People go, this is total horse crap. We were never even at a party with her. Why do they do that? It's weird.
Because they just don't care. They think as long as they can derail it and delay it until after the midterms, or pressure Trump to get somebody else nominated, that they can buy enough time and then potentially win the Senate and get their own candidate in after 2020. Anything goes at this point, Alex, anything whatsoever. None of this stacks up whatsoever. You've got the first accuser, Ford, waiting 36 years to report this. She didn't report it to law enforcement. She reports it to politicians. Oh, but it's not political, is it, Alex? Then we have her saying...
By the way, you raped me 36 years ago, Paul. No, yeah, it's credible. You have to step down from public life. Just like they say guilty until proven innocent, even though you're not 36 years old. How old are you? 35?
36.
So at birth, you raped me.
3 months old, it happened. You know, potentially, you've got witnesses. I mean, it could have happened.
I do. Hold on, there's one. Yes, Paul did it. I was there. Paul, you're a rapist. How dare you rape me? Don't question accusers. Don't question the abused. Don't question victims. I want you off air. Admit it. Admit you're sorry for raping me.
Well, believe the victim, Alex. Believe the victim. Every woman has the right to be believed, unless you...
And I identify as a woman.
Yeah, unless you're assaulted by Al Franken, unless you're groped by Cory Booker, unless you're physically abused by Keith Ellison. And it's funny,
you raped me at 3 months old. I want you in jail. Say you're sorry for raping me.
I deeply and humbly apologize.
That's more like it. You don't question victims, damn it. Paul Watson, the rapist of Alex Jones, coming up next.
In the next segment, we have Michael Graves, the former Misfits punk rock singer. We were pronouncing his name wrong because of the way it's spelled, but it's Michael Graves, coming on to talk about why he was banned basically by a music festival despite having sold out shows because he dared support free speech and retweeted yours truly and Alex Jones. That's coming up in the next segment. For the moment, Twitter is ablaze with speculation about whether or not 4chan trolled creepy porn lawyer Michael Aventi into putting forward this accuser, this third accuser of the Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh. You know, he came out with these lurid tales of gang rape, alcohol-fueled sex parties. It turns out that it may have been a 4chan troll all along. Again, this is not confirmed. Chris Barron just commented on this on Twitter. I just retweeted him, pro-Trump conservative strategist. He says, Aventi can't even handle Trump trolls. How do you think he'll fare against Trump himself? What a fake, tough guy, a fraud and a grifter. Perfect face for the modern left. And he said that in response to Aventi's explanation as to why he locked down his Twitter account, which basically amounts to, oh, they were being mean to me. That's what Michael Aventi has given as his reason for locking down his account. The speculation is actually that he locked down his account because his story about this third Kavanaugh accuser has completely collapsed and blown up in his stupid face. If you go on my Twitter account, I've just retweeted the post on 4chan where they claim that one of their members approached Aventi, creepy porn lawyer, with this fake story about how Kavanaugh was involved in these gang rape sex parties, and it's all complete nonsense. Again, none of that is confirmed, but that is the speculation, the wild speculation that's taken a hold of Twitter right now. So we'll continue to follow it. There you see the screenshot from 4chan. You can click on that and blow it up and read the post. Again, none of this is confirmed, but if it was confirmed, it will definitely qualify as the funniest story of 2018, bar none. So we'll continue to track that for the rest of the broadcast. Twitter has announced it's going to ban dehumanizing comments. Oh, and this won't be abused to censor conservatives even more, will it? Headline, Twitter to ban dehumanizing comments with user help. Twitter on Tuesday reached out to users for help crafting a ban on comments that dehumanize people and set the stage for real-world violence. So again, this is the whole intersectional far leftist trope that comments and that being mean to people, like being mean to CNN reporters, sets the stage for real-world violence, is abusive and is targeted harassment. It says a policy change that Twitter has been working on for several months is intended to broaden hateful content restrictions. I wonder who this is going to impact. Take a wild guess. To include barring tweets dehumanizing people based on race, religion, sexual orientation, or other social grouping. Now, it's interesting because I read some of the examples they provide. They basically say if you compare somebody to an animal, then that qualifies as abusive, that qualifies as dehumanizing. Remember a few months back, Donald Trump compared MS-13 gang member killers, people who literally blow up children, to animals. He called them animals. The left got very upset about that. So under this new definition, Twitter would have banned Donald Trump, or at least given themselves the pretext to ban Donald Trump, because he referred to vicious, murdering, thug, gang member, illegal aliens as animals. Remember how, who was it, Pelosi and a bunch of people got really upset over that? Being mean to vicious, murdering gang members, can't do that. Maybe if someone, you know, calls jihadist terrorists a naughty word, is rude to ISIS, maybe they'll get banned as well. Maybe they'll get a psychiatric evaluation like Marine Le Pen's getting over in France. So it says, language that makes someone less than human can have repercussions off the service. Of course, we can get called racist, goblins, troglodytes, evil white people all day long. Nothing happens to those people. Sarah Jong literally spews race hate and gets verified by Twitter a few weeks later. But God forbid you would be mean to a CNN reporter, banned permanently. So, of course, this is going to be abused. Of course, it's going to increase, intensify, and accelerate double standards on the platform. This, again, is just another dog whistle to censor conservatives. Watch this space as to how they implement it. Meanwhile, BuzzFeed reports Facebook has removed more than a dozen big conservative and liberal political pages. Apart from when they say liberal, no, it's just conservative. So LifeZet, which is Laura Ingram's outlet, they found that one person or one organization was running all these different Facebook pages, and they were all promoting LifeZet.com content. Now, LifeZet.com is a conservative news outlet operated or owned at least by Laura Ingram. They've banned a bunch of pages tied to that organization. They haven't banned LifeZet yet on Facebook, but they've banned over a dozen hyper-partisan pages with more than 30 million combined fans after discovering they were administered by the same fake account in violation of policies against spamming. Now, I've only read halfway into this article, but it basically says all these different pages were sending out content from LifeZet.com, which again is a conservative news outlet. So how they strong arm that into a headline about them banning liberal pages as well doesn't really make a lot of sense. This appears to be targeted at a conservative news outlet primarily. So yet another example of censorship. Meanwhile, the story we covered earlier, leftist group that harassed Ted Cruz vows, "You are not safe, we will find you." They have now deleted that tweet. Whether they were forced to delete it by Twitter or not remains to be seen. They've deleted the tweet. They've deleted the other tweet where they doxed Gavin McInnes, who was on the show earlier, but their account is still active. Twitter has not suspended this far-left, violence-promoting, doxing-promoting, targeted harassment-promoting account for giving out Gavin McInnes' phone number, which led to him getting death threats, and for tweeting, quote, "You are not safe, we will find you, we will take from you the peace you have taken from so many others." So again, yet another example of double standards. On the one, out of one side of the mouth, they're talking about banning dehumanizing language. Out the other side of the mouth, this group has merely been forced to delete 2 tweets. Their account has not been suspended. Double standards in evidence once again. The founder of the group that harassed Ted Cruz, the Antifa professor, who we were talking about before as well, has, like creepy porn lawyer Michael Aventi, placed his Twitter account on lockdown, which of course means that nobody who doesn't follow him can report his tweets. So the tweet from back on November 8, 2016, where he literally encourages people to assassinate Mike Pence, those are his words, quote, "assassinate Mike Pence," that's disappeared temporarily. I don't know if that's because he locked down his account or because he deleted the tweet in response to this InfoWars article that's up on screen right now. So if his account comes back from lockdown, then we'll see whether he's deleted those tweets or not. But again, this is the guy who founded the group, the guy who encouraged people to, quote, "kill cops first," the guy who encouraged people to kill your local politicians before they kill you. Those were his tweets. He's locked down his account. Is that to avoid being suspended by Twitter, which probably wouldn't suspend him anyway, given that his open encouragement to assassinate Mike Pence has been online for almost 2 years with no action whatsoever. Oh, but there's no discrimination against conservatives. Absolutely incredible. We'll be back with Michael Graves, Misfit Singer, after the break. Don't go away. We are back. It is the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show. We're trying to get our guest, Michael Graves, hooked up on the line to talk about how he was banned by a music festival, sold out shows already lined up merely for retweeting yours truly, for defending Alex Jones, for defending free speech, the true intolerance of progressivism showing its ugly face once again. We're trying to get him on the line. But we're talking about the creepy porn lawyer, Michael Aventi, who again claimed that he had this third accuser, this third Kavanaugh accuser. Turns out, potentially, this is not proven, this is still potential, that he locked down his account on Twitter because it turned out that he'd been pranked by 4chan, who came forward with this fake story from this fake accuser, and that he got completely trolled by it. Now, the question I asked on Twitter just now was this: if Aventi was pranked by 4chan, will the media just continue to believe the story anyway, as they did when 4chan pranked them into believing the OK hand sign was a white power symbol? Because as you remember, even the ADL had to come out and say, no, this was invented by 4chan. This was deliberately invented as a prank to try and convince the media that it was a symbol of white supremacy, when in fact it was just a joke invented on the 4chan message board. But still to this day, they have hissy fits, they panic, they're all over themselves with hysteria and concern when anyone does this OK hand symbol, despite the fact that Oscar Cortez and everyone else has basically done it. So will the media continue to believe this fake story about Kavanaugh allegedly being involved in gang rapes, even if it is proven that it's a 4chan troll? Because they're still in complete agreement. They believe that the OK hand sign is a white power symbol, which also began on 4chan's message board. So will they believe this story, even if it's proven to be a complete hoax? That remains to be seen. Absolutely incredible situation right now. Now, there's a headline on informationliberation.com. New York Times Kevin Roose pushes for automated Facebook censorship because joke photo went viral. Now, you know that the EU's basically just passed a law, or they've got a final vote on it, I believe, but it looks like it's going to go through, to ban memes, to force social media companies and websites in general to install content filters. So when you upload a meme, it's automatically filtered through this regulatory mechanism, which bans it before it's even allowed to be posted. Well, now New York Times tech writer Kevin Roose suggests that Facebook should automatically prevent fake images from being shared after a hilarious meme of President Trump handing out a MAGA hat to a hurricane victim went viral. Now, this image, this meme, if you look at it, is patently false. It's patently a joke. Nobody in their right mind could ever feasibly believe that President Trump would get on a little dinghy in his full suit and tie in the middle of a hurricane and hand out MAGA hats to people who are stranded and at risk of death. It's obviously a joke. It's obviously a satirical meme. But Roose, the New York Times tech writer, who seems to think he's an investigative genius, tweeted on Monday, a Photoshop picture depicting Trump rescuing people during Hurricane Florence has been shared 275,000 times on Facebook. The original is from Texas flooding in 2015. Oh my God, he's found the original picture that made this meme. Like he's uncovered some dark secret here. As the article states, the picture is an obvious joke. Trump is there in his full suit and tie, handing out MAGA hats to people stranded, at belly button height water during a hurricane. It's obviously a hoax. It's obviously a satirical meme. Nonetheless, Roose suggested Facebook should automatically censor such fake images to prevent them going viral. He said Facebook already uses image hashing fingerprinting to prevent repeat uploads of, e.g. revenge porn. Seems like it would be easy to prevent obviously fake photos from going viral. So he's literally sounding the dog whistle for Facebook to ban political memes that boost President Trump, even though it's a joke, or that obviously satirize or insult leftists. The article concludes, perhaps Facebook should appoint Roose and others at the New York Times as meme monitors and allow them exclusively to pick and choose which memes are allowed to be shared. Now, I'll tell you why they're doing this, why they're trying to clamp down on memes, because recently it was announced that Facebook would indeed start to target its fake news monitors, its fact checkers, against satirical memes. Even though memes aren't supposed to be news stories, they're not supposed to be veritas, they're not supposed to be truth, they're fun. But because the left can't meme, Now they're trying to ban memes. We can flash back to this article. Infowars.com from June of this year, new scientific study proves the left can't meme, which I wrote. A huge new research study has proved that what everybody suspected all along, the left can't meme. The study undertaken by researchers at University College London found that the most effective memes largely originated in two places. The Donald, which is where this Hurricane Trump meme probably originated, and 4chan's politically incorrect poll forum, which looks like it also originated creepy porn lawyer Michael Aventi's fake third Kavanaugh accuser. And even Vice admitted in a write-up of the study that the most effectively spread memes originated on the Donald or 4chan. Says the researchers studied more than 100 million images from online communities and found that Paul, 4chan, had the highest volume of memes, while the Donald was the best at getting memes spread outside its own community. The researchers concluded that the algorithm they developed, and this, bearing in mind, this is an algorithm developed to censor memes, basically. They developed the algorithm to identify the most effectively spread memes, and it could, quote, be useful for social media platforms trying to automatically detect hateful content, or in other words, it could be used to censor viral memes that are successful in spreading right-wing narratives. While to the naive, they're just a fun way of sharing jokes and other content, the power of memes has grown rapidly in recent years, to the point where they're now seen as a hugely influential tool to amplify political narratives. And because the left can't meme, because they're always petrified about offending somebody and walking on eggshells permanently, they want them banned, like they want everything else banned. Like when they lose an argument because they've lost the ability to make one, they want people deplatformed. Now they want memes deplatformed. Leftist websites like The Guardian, the most insufferable website on the planet, according to Elon Musk, and The New Yorker, which just came out with this new fake second accuser Kavanaugh story, complained bitterly before the election of Donald Trump that, quote, meme warfare was disrupting politics. Political memes are the raw material of political talk, writes the week's Chuck Tyron. They provide fodder for ongoing political conversations, allowing for informal and spontaneous efforts to define the ethical and moral limits of campaign speech. So they're really butthurt about how Donald Trump supporters used memes to great effect during the presidential election to get him elected, and they want to do something about it. In a recent article for Salon, Deirdre Olson also whined about how the political meme has, quote, become the centerpiece of disinformation campaigns, even though it's not supposed to be a straight up fact, it's a meme, and that, quote, the ability of memes to communicate ideology is boundless. If the left was good at creating and disseminating memes, one wonders if left-wing legacy media outlets would be so down on them. Obviously not. So long as the right has the upper hand on the battlefield of meme warfare, their impact on political discourse will always be demonized and presented as a foreboding sign of the vast, right-wing, racist, Russian, fill-in-the-blank conspiracy. So again, just as they can't outline a cohesive political argument without resorting to calling their opponents racists or bigots, or indeed deplatforming their opponents, as we've seen over the past couple of months, the left can't meme. So they simply want to ban memes instead. So what you're going to see over the next few weeks, over the next few months leading up to the midterms, is another contrived moral panic about how memes are fake news, about how memes are misleading. James Woods just locked out of his account on Twitter for, again, posting a satirical meme. This is the war on memes. They're going to tag them as misleading, tag them as fake news, and use that as a contrived moral panic to ban them, because once again, the left can't meme, and it's simply so much easier for them to censor, ban, and deplatform their political adversaries. We'll be back in the next segment of the Alex Jones Show Live, breaking news at Infowars.com. Don't go away. We are back on the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show. We're going to hold Michael Graves over until tomorrow's show because he's having some technical difficulties, so he will be on the show tomorrow. For the time being, before I get back into the news, I want to direct you over to the great specials we have at InfoWarsStore.com, which include the Ultimate Bone Broth Formula at a sale price of just $19.95. That is 50% off. We're bringing back one of the biggest fan favorite formulas we've ever offered with even better ingredients. It is Ultimate Bone Broth. It's available right now. You can stock up at the low, low price of just $19.95. Incredible ingredients include chicken bone broth, the turmeric root, the chaga mushroom, the bee pollen, the goji berry, and alfalfa herb powder, and even more. These powerful ingredients will help you get the most out of your workout by supporting your healthy muscles, digestion, tendons, and ligaments, while also supporting your body's fight against free radicals. That is Ultimate Bone Broth Formula. Normally $39.95. Right now it's at $19.95, a 50% discount. You can also select the auto ship option, which gives you an extra 10% subscription discount, and you don't have to keep remembering to go back and reorder the product. It will automatically be dispatched to you every 14 days, and you can choose whether you want it every 14 days or however much of a gap you want in between. You can select that yourself. Go and read the 5-star reviews at InfoWarsStore.com, where we also have the second to last run special on Super Male Vitality, again at 50% off. This is the second to last run on the legendary Super Male Vitality formula to help you experience the power of this fan favorite formula. We're dropping the price again by a huge, whopping 50%. This product has received thousands of 5-star reviews from listeners who have been blown away by the effects. It uses game-changing formula, ancient wisdom, and modern equipment to boost your male vitality and help you fight fatigue easily. Visit InfoWarsStore.com to take advantage of the massive savings to see why our listeners and customers stand by Super Male Vitality's effectiveness. Super Male Vitality, second to last run, 50% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com, along with a whole roster of other products at low, low discount prices. Use PayPal while you still can, because it's only going to be there for about 8 more business days, so take advantage of that before they ban it completely. Please support this network. Now, earlier we had the story about a top resistance activist being caught on tape in a secret recording, admitted that he gets, quote, paid by, quote, higher-ups to, quote, sow the division. This is Brian Krasenstein, who has something like over 550,000 followers on Twitter. He's always near the top of the responses to Trump's tweets. He came out, made these comments. This is an admitted video. He doesn't deny that this is him in the video. He doesn't deny that that's what he said in the video. Quote, of course, there are higher-ups that are paying us. Then he came out with a tweet about an hour ago saying, of course we aren't paid by anyone to tweet. Yet alt-right news organizations like InfoWars, Gateway Pundit, and True Pundit, and others have used the video to paint an ominous narrative about those of us and those on the right. So he says we're not paid to tweet, yet literally out of his mouth in the video come the words, of course there are higher-ups that are paying us. Then he goes on to say, to sow the division. So if you get caught admitting it, you can't really take that back. Either it's not you in the video, and like they've edited the audio, he's not denying that it's him in the video. So now he's trying to walk it back. You can't walk it back when it's come out of your mouth. Absolutely incredible duplicitousness by a top member of the resistance. Now let's get into some more news here. We have a story out of PJ Media, again on this subject of hate. We've talked about this before. They've broadened out the definition of hate to basically include all conservative opinions. So any kind of vehement opposition, for example, to teaching transgenderism to young children in schools, no, you can't do that. That's hate. That was literally one of the reasons PayPal gave when it banned InfoWars, that we were promulgating hate because we opposed the teaching of transgender sex lifestyles to young children in schools. Now we have this headline. EU Justice Commissioner says media must be regulated to prevent hate. Oh, you see how far down the rabbit hole this goes. The shape of things to come, both in Europe and the United States. Racial abuse, discrimination, and the bad version of nationalism, whatever that is, again, so vague it can be expanded out to include anything, promotes exclusion and hatred, and they say that's on the rise, and the media may need to be regulated to help curtail the problem. Who's going to regulate it? Oh, it's the EU that's literally trying to ban memes right now and has passed a vote to do exactly that. A dangerous version of nationalism is not only visible in the rising popularity of the extreme parties, but also evident in the political mainstream. Again, complete waffle, complete nonsense, just another blasé excuse to censor, to deplatform their political opposition as their Byzantine empire crumbles. The article states, in other words, if you're for little or no immigration, that's now called exclusion. Oh, you see how this works? If you find some cultures, such as your own, worthier than others, that's hatred. Yes, I mean, you could talk about Afghanistan, you know, Bacha-Bazi, where old men get to have sex with little boys. That's part of their culture. You can't criticize their culture because that's exclusion, that's hatred. You can talk about, you know, India, where they poop on the streets because it's in their culture to do so, causes horrible diseases and child malnutrition, but it's part of their culture. So if then you say that pooping on the streets is bad, then you're engaging in hatred and you will be deplatformed, you will be banned. If you put love of your country over the EU, that's dangerous nationalism. To demonstrate just how far the social justice left despises adherents of free speech, which must perforce include hate speech, take a gander at this justification for consumer gender equality fascism. Count the buzzwords. It says media can build the culture of dialogue or sow divisions, even though literally leftists admit that they're getting paid to sow division, spread disinformation and encourage exclusion, the commissioner said. Well, the commissioner can go screw herself, hands off our free speech. The Brexit debate is the best example of that. Oh, what a surprise, you want to ban Brexiteers. Politicians should show responsibility and restraint and must realize that their words become justification for some people to act on their urges and their fears. They've literally, in the past, tried to ban people, tried to deplatform people, tried to, in one case, I remember there was an actual charge against somebody for criticizing the EU. They give an example. The Czech politician pointed to far-right protests in Chemnitz, the anti-Soros campaign in Hungary, so now you can't criticize George Soros, even though he's behind a lot of these left-wing groups, or growing anti-Muslim or anti-Roma rhetoric as examples when exclusion, discrimination, and lack of respect for minorities. So again, they define lack of respect for minorities as being opposed to flooding Europe with what Macron said eventually would be 200 million Africans. If you're against that, if you're against mass migration, if you're against displacement of people, if you're against working class, mainly white communities in the UK or other European countries being displaced, if you're against ghettoization of our country where immigrants do not integrate, they don't get jobs, they get put on welfare, if you call attention to any of that, you're engaging in exclusion, you will be banned. That's hate speech. Again, just a blasé justification for overt mass censorship. We see right through it. Meanwhile, in Sweden, Swedish populist politicians' home targeted in arson attack. So again, the people that they claim are engaging in hate speech online are literally being hatefully and viciously attacked physically in their own homes being set on fire. But that's tolerant, that's progressive. A Stockholm municipal politician, a member of the Sweden Democrats, was targeted in a deliberate arson attack on her home in the latest assault on the Populist Party and its members. The unnamed municipal politician's home was targeted in the early morning of Sunday. While she and her partner were up late drinking wine, the woman said that both she and her partner smelled burning, and upon examination saw the corner of their wooden home was on fire. Police believe the arson attempt was intentional. So again, populist conservative politicians literally being attacked, their homes set on fire. In Sweden, we have this out of the Express. Horror as car plows into crowd of 100 children and teachers, police manhunt underway. This was in, I think it was near Malmo in Sweden. A car plowed into a crowd of children and their parents on a walk near Karlshamn in Sweden. Luckily, only 2 children, I believe, were injured, and the injuries were relatively minor. Children threw themselves out of the way of the car, which appeared to have aimed directly for the group of 100 people. The car accelerated into the group of students and teachers. They haven't caught the culprit. They don't know the motive yet. But from what I saw on Twitter, there were attempts to even hide the reporting of this story because of obviously what it would entail. Absolutely chilling situation. Guardian reports Trump urges world to reject globalism in UN speech that draws mocking laughter. I was laughing more at the faces of the UN globalists who Trump completely tore apart during this, I think it was like a 30-minute speech. Absolutely delectable, telling everyone to reject socialism, telling the UN to go screw themselves when it comes to the International Criminal Court and mass migration agenda. You have to watch this speech. It's imperative. I think it was better than Trump's inauguration speech. You have to watch it right now. That's going to wrap it up, though. Owen Schroyer, War Room is coming up, Infowars.com. Thanks for joining us.
We're breaking the conditioning!
InfoWars comes to mind.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Alex Jones.
There's a lot of controversy around this network about Alex Jones.
Google is being accused of hiding negative stories about Hillary and her campaign by changing its algorithm to bury stories like the Clinton body count story. That's according to website InfoWars.
It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons.
Dr. Martin Luther King has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
JFK was shot from the back and the front.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
They took the babies out of the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work, operating in areas that we can't control.
UFOs.
Is this global governance at last? Is it one world? The central bank is in charge.
Israel claims the attack was accidental, but some former U.S. naval officers say it was on purpose. They describe the day's action as part of a continuing cover-up.
Russian intelligence compiled a dossier on Mr. Trump during visits to Moscow.
Russian scum!
Denied everything. He called it all fake news.
And he accused CNN of being fake news.
This is a national emergency.
If they kill Trump or remove Trump, it will cause a massive civil war in this country.
This was a FEMA high-level alert.
We are at war with Russia. Are you aware that Mr. Stone also stated publicly that he was in direct communication with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks?
The White House and the President are citing InfoWars.
They can shut us down. You're next.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Just like our information is game-changing, our products are game-changing. And Survival Shield X2 is the pure iodine. No one else has this from deep earth crystals between 7,000 and 12,000 feet. It's very hard for me to get. It's the good halogen. But instead, they hammer you with the bad halogens, fluoride, chlorine, bromine, that literally fog you, fill out all your cells, your thyroid, you name it. BioTrue Selenium goes with it like a horse and carriage. Selenium is an electrochemical. It's needed as well in all activity in the body, particularly neurons. So these go incredibly well together. We have a combo of those. Just experience it for yourself. Why do you think they fear me so much? Very simple stuff. Filter your water. Yeah, I find myself selling water filters. It's the best out there for the price. When I say it's the last run, it could be 6 months, a year until we get more. I hope we get more. This is the last run, it looks like. Survival Shield X2 at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139.